Hi, I'm here. I'm queer. Get used to it. Real quick, I want to thank Krungo Kong for the 4 month resub. Thank you, and welcome everybody. Sorry if I'm a little sleepy today. It is like I've got that like post hurricane that didn't really hit you mood. Like there was a hurricane and it didn't really hit us, and for some reason it made me sleepy. So thank you for bearing with me today. I am a sleepy man. Um. Oh. News report. Do. New disgusting drink found. I decided to buy some juice on sale. And usually the juice tastes pretty good from this company. It all tastes like juice, like fruit and everything. But they made one that I didn't like. I'm gonna show it to you here. You're like, okay, cucumber, spinach, kale, spirulina. You're like, well, that doesn't sound too good, but it's also got lemon juice, and so maybe it'll be good tasting, folks. I have Here's my review. It was green and quite putrid. In fact, here, you got to hear me have a sip of it because I haven't finished it. I wish they don't make juice with caffeine. They should. Oh, it's green and quite putrid. It's green and quite putrid. Oh, quite putrid. Yeah, it needs some pineapple juice. It needs pineapple, like, for sure. Or apple or flavor. Its whole thing is it is low in sugar, and I guess that's good. But you can also. This has pear juice in it. So it has juice. What were you thinking? Why didn't you add pineapple? All your other juices have pineapple. Anyways, green, quite putrid. I recommend every single other juice they have because they are not green and or putrid. Better than the oat coffee, for sure, for sure. I don't know what they were thinking. Maybe they were like, we don't. I guess it's for people who can't have a lot of sugar, and I guess they need juice too, but that's not me. That's not me. Folks, let's get started on our stream journey today. We are looking at issue 2 of Interactive Entertainment. Also, look at this great theme I found. Isn't that great? Isn't that great? You're looking at it and you're like, Alex, does this make noises? Not making noises. Why are you not making noises? I remember making Pikachu noises, but that may have been my Pikachu theme. Yeah, do you like Raichu here? He's looking great. Gotta catch them all. Don't worry about Raichu. He's fine. It's not about him. All right, let's go. Episode 2. I think we were in the reviews, if I recall. I already. All right. Oh, okay. That's not a Pokemon noise, but I respect it. You remember our skeleton friend? Remember this guy? Yeah. I love interactive entertainment. I am so excited to go through literally every single issue of this on stream. So if you're ever like, Alex, do you have any ideas for future streams? I have 50 ideas for future streams, baby. All right, let's take a look at the reviews. No. Reviews. Did this. Damn it. Was this where we left off? I want to say we left off at Kingmaker. Yeah. We left off at Kingmaker, I think. Yeah, let's start from here. Let's go.
First impressions aren't always accurate. If they were, this review of Avalon Hill's Kingmaker would be a lengthy list of expletives followed by a heartfelt plea to destroy any copy of the game that you happen to come across. I could pretend that my devotion to truth, justice, and the American way made me stick with this game, but that would be a bold-faced lie. What actually happened was that I felt my boss would be slightly upset if I completely trashed something based on just 3 or 4 failed attempts at playing it. Therefore, I kept plugging away and discovered that once you figure Kingmaker out, it's actually entertaining. The
Oh.
background for this game is the 15th century equivalent of the smoke-filled rooms of modern politics, the War of the Roses. During this troubled time in British history, different factions battled for control of the throne. However, members of the monarchy who supposedly ruled the country were merely figureheads for the real powers who were pulling the strings from behind the scenes. To become Kingmaker, you must eliminate all other pretenders to the throne so that your own ineffectual puppet can take charge. Unlike the 1990s, when
Thank you, Kevki, for the 4-month resub. Thank you so much.
Unsuccessful bid
I've been awoken by
result in death.
the
When all of the
alert.
other royal heirs are eliminated, your lackey takes over the country, making you a very important person indeed. That sounds a lot simpler than this game actually is. There are 2 separate
This game
lines of royal
seems
heirs
way
along
too
with a slew
complicated
of titled
personally.
and untitled nobles who all play a major
And if I can't
role
make the
as
nobles
different
gay, I
factions
can't
battle
play.
for control. As if sorting out this jumbled cast of characters weren't enough, figuring out how to play the game requires the patience of a saint. To quote directly from the manual, for the first few games, the best strategy might seem bewilderingly obscure. Truer words have never been spoken. The most important part of this game actually takes place well before the first battle when you build your faction. This is where you discover which nobles are backing your cause and
I
what
like the
resources
little
are
crossbow
available
man
to
here.
you.
He's
By
good
assigning
looking.
the available offices and titles available to your
Swan.
faction to your untitled
Sorry
nobles,
that I'm
you
making
can
fun of the
improve your
War of the
chances
Roses. That's
success.
probably really
Once
bad
the
of
game
me.
begins, your main goal is to capture royal heirs. Some are wandering aimlessly around the countryside and are easy to snag, while others are held by opposing factions and fiercely protected. Don't get too attached to these heirs. The first thing you're asked once you capture one is whether you wish to execute
Oh my
him or her.
god!
In addition to the complex strategy, Kingmaker's interface adds to the
Oh.
game's difficulty. The information menus, which allow you to change your own faction and trace the whereabouts of the royal heirs and opposing
Okay.
factions, are actually easy to find and use.
Huh.
However, moving your troops around on the map takes some getting used to. Since the screen changes
guess
to a
you can just
close-up, leaving
behead
you a very
people.
small area to work in, you're forced to change screens if you wish to move any distance. In a strange, twisted sort of way, I got a lot more
Is
out
his
of
head gonna
Kingmaker than I
stay
thought
on?
I would. Having struggled as much as I did when I first started playing, I felt damn good when I finally wrestled this beast to its knees and started to understand what was going on. If you're into instant gratification, you'll hate the game, but if you enjoy a stiff challenge, Kingmaker will be a crowning achievement.
Alright, let's hear the
First
second
impressions-
opinion on that.
This one was just a little too obscure for my taste. It's unclear from the manual, or from your first few tries at playing, exactly how you're supposed to get to a point where you can win this damn game.
This isn't your regular approach to gameplay in a strategy game, but it's a lot of fun to work with once you figure it out. With all the different titled nobles and royal heirs that are involved in this, it becomes quickly apparent that Kingmaker is won or lost when you allocate your resources well before the first battle is joined. The game manual explains how the game works in exhaustive detail, but it doesn't offer much help with basic strategy. This game also badly needs a basic tutorial which shows how the different factions work for and against each other.
Okay,
I could pretend that my devotion to
back to the reviews. Let's go to the Lawnmower Man. Oh, hell yeah. And also, let me know if the game audio's a little bit loud. I turned it up a bit so we could hear the guys.
the movie Lawnmower Man practically begged to be made into a computer game.
Begged.
Based on an intriguing sci-fi premise which had nothing to do with Stephen King's short story, the movie featured dazzling computer-generated graphics, sinister government plots, of course, and breathtaking sequences of the characters' adventures in the virtual world of cyberspace. There are many words I could use to describe Lawnmower Man the game, but dazzling and breathtaking are not among them. In fact, the most honest of them cannot be included in a family-oriented publication. This is your character, Dr. Angelo, as he appears once Cyberjoke sucks him into his virtual domain. Fans of the movie may notice that this representation of Dr. Angelo looks nothing like Pierce Brosnan. In fact, very little in this game resembles the movie very closely. People stunned by the beautiful special effects of the movie are bound to be shocked by the extremely poor quality of the graphics found in this game. This screenshot is as good as it gets. It only goes downhill from there.
Love it.
After watching several seconds of
I
uninteresting
forgot.
intro footage, the game
Forgot
dumps you into
how
cyberspace. You
stupid
find
this
yourself
game
standing on what
is.
looks like a conveyor belt, and you're being chased by Cyberjobe's lawnmower, Big Red. Without input from you, your character begins running down the belt. Various obstacles must be either jumped or slid under. The computer, however, apparently doesn't trust your poor human instincts to make these decisions. A pleasant female voice tells you when to jump and when to duck. Pressing the appropriate key when prompted will guide you safely through this first level. Don't worry about hitting the key exactly when the computer says to. Split-second timing is apparently not a requirement of this game.
Oh, good.
After completing each level, you are
Accessing
rewarded
Cyber
with a
Joe.
brief clip from the movie. These movie clips are completely gratuitous, having nothing whatsoever to do with gameplay. It seems they were inserted here just to allow the marketing team to use the term multimedia when describing the game. The quality of these video segments is quite poor, worse than some porno CDs I've seen, and that says a lot. The clips are grainy, have extremely poor color, and have had a pseudo-psychedelic delay effect added to the soundtrack,
Some of them
which makes much of the
porno
dialogue
CDs
indecipherable to anyone who hasn't seen the movie several times. After the video clip is finished, Dr. Angelo morphs into a sort of cyber glider to fly through a tunnel. This sequence is every bit as interactive and challenging as the first. Your glider centers itself automatically in the tunnel, and that female voice will once again guide you through everything you have to do. Again, timing is not a factor, as the computer will ignore an early key press. Twice in this sequence, you'll have to shoot gates that threaten to snap shut on you. Again, the computer will tell you what to do when, and any over-anxious shots will simply be ignored. Each time you respond correctly to a turn in the tunnel, the view automatically switches to an external camera to give you a view of yourself flying through the tunnel.
Yeah, I remember
this
we
would
played
be a nice
this
touch
game
if the
on
graphics weren't
Sega
so
CD,
terrible.
and I want to
Your
say...
reward for the second
this
round
on
of pushing
PC?
buttons like a rat getting food is another bad video clip. This one shows a bit of the movie sequences in which Job and Peter play a virtual reality game. In it, Job and Peter race across a dangerous virtual landscape in high-powered cyber gliders. This is obviously where the game designers got the idea for the sequence that was just completed. The problem is, this video sequence of Job and Peter's game looks like much more fun than the glider ride you just took. It's as if the programmers put the clip in to say, well, we were going to give you a fast-paced game sequence like this into the CD-ROM, but then we just decided to make things easier on you. Thanks a lot, guys. Once you morph back into humanoid form, you find yourself walking down a hallway, a task the overambitious computer
so multimedia.
handles for
Look
you.
at this.
Your progress is halted when you encounter a locked door. To open the door, you must solve the puzzle. In each column of 4 symbols, there is one that doesn't belong, and you must select the correct one for each of the 4 columns. Although vaguely reminiscent of the IQ tests I took in grade school, this isn't exactly what I'd call recreation, and people who don't like puzzle games aren't likely to be converted by this. And puzzle game fans are bound to find this sort of puzzle an insult to their intelligence. If you get the door puzzle wrong, the floating form of the director of the shop will appear and menace you. Because this is a multimedia experience, he will mutter a line of movie
it's got a
dialogue
Mac
at
port?
you.
Okay,
These lines don't really fit into the game context and don't contain any clues to the puzzle, so don't try reading any hidden meanings into them. Again, that cheesy delay effect is used, and even though I've seen the movie many times, I found myself straining to decipher these strange sound bites. By the way, if you fail the puzzle 3 times, the director will draw an end to the 1 life you get in this game. Remember that handheld game called Simon where you had to play back a tune by pressing the color pads in the correct number? Well, it seems our resourceful game designers remember, and fairly recently too. The next challenge involves you replaying a tune on this device just like Simon. The tune is only made up of 4 notes, so it's not exactly something an 8-year-old would have a hard time with. Once in a while, though, the program will screw up and play back the first 2 or 3 notes only by flashing their light very quickly and giving the player no audio clue whatsoever. When a puzzle is only difficult when the program messes it up, you know you're playing a bad game.
We'll be right back after these messages.
Oh yeah, the ads.
Legends Superhero League of Hoboken is sure to be a high-flying hit. Check out the preview demo in this episode of IE. Take me out to the ball game.
Yes,
Front
front page
sports
baseball
is sure to be a hit with you at
You know,
home.
I've actually
Check
been
out the
meaning to
preview
try
demo
the
in this
Superhero League of
episode of
Hoboken
IE.
game. I should do that
We
sometime.
now return you to
It's
the
New
show.
Jersey, so
As
I
you are
gotta
entering
play.
the tune, each pad will light and sound off as you press it. Although you have heard yourself play the tune back, the designers thought you'd like to see and hear yourself do it again. This screen shifts to this overhead view and replays Dr. Angelo playing this stupid 4-tone tune again. This screen cannot be bypassed.
They should
nor
make
is
the
it
Lawnmower
smoothly
Man
flowing
a
replay of
VR
your
chat
actions. Each time you press a pad,
avatar.
the program loads that scene from the CD. Even though I have a double-speed CD-ROM drive and had installed 20 megabytes of the game data onto my hard drive, each pad press took at least a second to read from the CD, and quite often the audio was distorted as well. If anyone out there knows what this
sorry,
scene is
you didn't
for,
get the
aside from filling up space on
notification.
the
Yeah,
CD,
I'm
I wish they'd
I'm
tell me.
streaming.
Getting by the Simon puzzle treats you to yet another low-res video clip, and then you face your next challenge. getting across the circuit board. As you can see from this shot, there are 3 paths across the board, 2 of which will lead Dr. Angelo to an electrical death. Yes, the game is finally going to let you make a decision about where to go on your own. Don't spend too much time thinking, though, for death is the penalty
You really
for
do look at a silver
indecisiveness.
ass a lot
Pressing
in
the
this
forward,
game.
left, and right arrow keys will allow you to get a better view of the circuit board. You must determine which path leads to the correct portal on the other side of the board. The problem is, it looks like any of the 3 pathways could lead to victory. I found it impossible to reason out which path to take in the short time the game allows,
Yeah, it
and ended up
sucks.
finally beating this puzzle simply by guessing and playing the odds. This may be okay for a gambling game, but in this context, it did nothing to impress me. Once you've made your choice of paths by turning in the appropriate direction and pressing the spacebar, Dr. Angelo flies around the board for upwards of 15 seconds. Again, this would be a nice touch in a game with impressive, or at least decent, graphics. Here, however, it's only another
Nice
irritating
ass.
cutscene in a game filled with irritating cutscenes. Like the overhead replay at the Simon panel, there is no way to bypass this gratuitous little fight to find out whether you are going to live or die. If you're still interested in playing the game at this point, you'll be confronted with a series of moving pedestals which you must cross. Don't expect any more interactivity here than anywhere else in the game, though. That friendly little computer voice once again pipes up like an overprotective mother leading her
Kaboom!
hapless
4-month
child through
resub.
traffic.
4 months
Instead
to
of
you guys
interacting
swimming
with
in
this
the
computer
digital
game, you are
world.
manipulated
Thank
by it,
you.
and I, for one, found no enjoyment in that experience. If you follow the computer's instructions, you should have no trouble making it past the pedestals. The last platform you jump transports you to a reincarnation of the first level, in which you must again flee from Big Red and
Oh,
jump
that's
and
good that
dodge
they're repeating
various
the
highly
levels.
pixelated things that want to kill you. This time, however, the computer offers no prompting on when and where to jump and duck. You might think this is a blessing, but think again. What could have been a good, challenging arcade sequence is ruined by horribly mangled graphics and the programmer's love of cinematic camera angles. Your character blends in so well with his surroundings that it's remarkably difficult to keep track of him. Also, with nearly every jump or slide you complete, the camera changes to a different angle, some of which do not exactly give you the best view of
Yeah,
what's
this
in
is
front of you.
Lawnmower Man
After being
for,
dragged through many
PC
scenes,
and
which I found
Sega
no fun at all,
CD.
this poorly realized scenario was the piece of dung
Certainly
that
looks
broke
Sega
this
CD.
camel's back. At this point, the Lawnmower Man and I parted company. Now I know how well I'd stand up under torture. I still find it hard to believe that a game that looked so good in its press sheet could be so bad. The graphics that I had seen on the press releases and on the game's box look fantastic, but when blown up to full screen size, they become horribly pixelated and downright ugly. The Lawnmower Man has easily the worst graphics of any CD-ROM game I've ever seen, and the sound and music quality isn't any better than an average floppy game. Sales Curve Interactive had the background and material to make a mind-blowing game, but what they've delivered is a dismal embarrassment. To add to the pain, there is no way of saving your progress, not even via passwords. This means that finishing the game would take such a huge amount of repetition that very few people are ever likely to see what the final levels of Lawnmower Man are like. Do yourself a favor and save your money until some real interactive entertainment finds its way to the market. Your CD-ROM was never meant for a game like this.
Hey,
The movie...
hate Lawnmower Man.
It's stunning how disappointed I was with this game. I looked at the box and expected great things, but inside the box was my worst nightmare. Absolutely nothing in this game is worthwhile. If it came on floppies, at least you could erase them and gain a few blank discs, but until they come up with a way to erase and re-record standard CDs, this game is completely worthless.
Okay. I am going to go to specs to see what this is for. Okay, this is definitely this is based on the CD-ROM. Okay.
Fans of the movie will like the chance to find out what comes next firsthand as they take the role of Dr. Angelo trapped in Cyberjob's virtual reality. The packaging is nice looking. The computer voice that instructs you on some levels is very pleasant, sounding much like the voice of Mother in Alien. The game features a mix of arcade action and puzzle solving, so it's bound to appeal to a wide audience.
And the cons?
The beautiful graphics promised by the game's packaging failed to materialize. What replaces them are highly pixelated images bound to cause headaches with prolonged viewing. The video clips from the movie are grainy and have bad color and audio. The puzzles tend to be very easy and the arcade sequences are either foolproof or impossible with nothing in between. The overall feel of this game will lead you to believe that you're merely along for the ride instead of interacting with a dynamic game.
Okay. So that's the negative on Lawnmower Man, which If it's anything like the Sega CD game, yeah. Ooh, Mega Man X. Here we go.
Finally, Capcom has answered the prayers of SNES-equipped Mega Man fans who've longed for a sequel to the classic NES series. The eagerly anticipated Mega Man X was released late last year with high expectations. Fortunately, it lives up to most of them.
There
if
you
you're
go,
thinking
buddy.
about purchasing X, do. You'll quickly find it an invaluable addition to your library. For those not familiar with the Mega Man series, although I doubt there are many of you left, here's a quick summary. They're platform-type run-and-jump games starring Mega Man, a robot who has the entertaining ability of being able to absorb the powers of the toughest enemies he defeats. One of the neat quirks in the older games was that a weapon obtained by defeating a certain boss proved to be extra powerful when fighting a certain other boss. That feature remains in X, and is accompanied by a huge list of new features as well. X, Mega Man's new name, begins the game with only his trusty X-Buster, a cannon which can be powered to 3 different levels of intensity by holding down the fire button before releasing. With a little practice and ingenuity, this weapon is more than powerful enough to get him through many of the stages. The first stage is fairly easy. I meant to acquaint you with the story, as well as introduce you to 2 basic power-ups, Life Meter and Special Weapon. The latter is useless early on, since X possesses no special
Life
weapon.
Meter a
It won't
power-up,
be
or
long,
is it-
however.
Never
The
mind.
game really begins after the intro stage is passed. Players are then presented with the stage select screen, which shows pictures of all the bosses, who will immediately be familiar to MM veterans. After playing and dying a few times, I learned that some bosses, namely Chill
I'm an
Penguin and
MM
Flame Man,
veteran.
were easier
Fought
than
in the
others.
Wily
Several
Wars.
X-Buster shots later, I had a couple special weapons to do harm with. A few of X's other abilities come in very handy at times. He can climb a wall by repeatedly jumping against it, making careless falls down pits a thing of the past. In addition, he can obtain special non-weapon powers in secret areas throughout the game, including upgraded armor and a speed dash. Once equipped in this fashion, X is one tough hombre. Veterans of the series might find that the level of
One
challenge
tough
drops
hombre.
off considerably after a couple of the secrets are found. Nobody said that a game can't both be easy and fun, though. There is, however, something to be said for games that are too hard. After playing for countless hours and craftily defeating all 8 of the primary bosses, one must confront the final boss, Sigma, in his multi-leveled fortress. Not only must you defeat all of the bosses again, you have to beat as many as 5 of them in a row without using a continue. There are even new bosses that are tougher than the originals. Here's where veteran Mega Man players will be happy they didn't turn their SNES off after the first 2 stages. Mega Man X is a 12-meg cart, and while the game's graphics are very good indeed, it's the fantastic sound effects and music that caught me first. I was only taken aback slightly when some slowdown occurred in the first stage. Not expecting it to occur again, I was further annoyed when it turned up in several other stages. Slowdown disrupts a player's rhythm. It should be eliminated before the game hits the shelves. Oh well, given that the rest of X is completely terrific, it's a minor qualm. Mega Man
Sigma?
X carries
Nah,
on the
he's not
tradition
my
of classic
type.
NES games, but adds many new features that will crank the gameplay over the top. Newcomers will at least like this game, and old comers will love it. If you played the old series and liked that it was sometimes simple, then X will fit you to a T.
Okay, they liked Mega Man
Finally,
X.
Capcom
Let's,
has answered the
no second opinion on this bad boy. Horde pros and cons. Okay. And the spec. Okay, so this was. I know there was people asking if this was the DOS or SNES version. It's the SNES version. Okay, we don't get any extras. I forget how lowly they see like consoles on this. That they really don't put as much effort into the console games as they do for the PC games. But I guess that makes sense.
We'll be right back.
Just when your workday starts to get terminal, here come Bernie and his dog Jock to treat you to Micro League Timeout Sports Baseball. Check out the demo in this episode of IE.
Oh yeah, the also tries. I'll check out the also tries for Lawnmower Man in a second.
Forget reading. Subscribe to IE. 12 episodes, only $59. Call now.
And now, back to interactive entertainment.
I'm glad to show these off, Sturlock. It's actually, I like this kind of interactive multimedia, and I just kind of want it to be preserved somehow. So I'm glad I could do this. Yeah,
The
let's
movie
see what else they recommended if we liked this. Also try Dragon Slayer, Space Ace, Space Ace. No. Don't try those if you liked Lawnmower Man. No. I gotta be checking those out. Mortal Kombat, here we go.
Mortal Kombat is finally here for the PC.
For
The
the
pre-release
PC.
consensus was that it would stink to high heaven, but not so. Surprisingly, Acclaim took the time to do the job right, and the result is a brutal fighting game with good graphics that feels remarkably like the arcade and Sega Genesis versions. Mercifully, the Gravis Gamepad 4-button joystick support has been included. This had the potential to be another awful arcade conversion, but Acclaim has thankfully stood by its product. In short, Mortal Kombat for the PC is everything Street Fighter II for the PC was not. All 7 characters from the arcade have made their way to the PC. In Mortal Kombat, each fighter has his or her own special attacks along with the standard array of punches, kicks, jumps, and throws that all fighters can use. Consequentially, each fighter has a weakness
No, this
against
guy
a
does
particular
sound a bit
kind
like
of attack.
LGR, yeah.
Recognizing
I forgot
and
what his name
exploiting
is.
the
It's in the
fighter's strengths and
credits.
weaknesses is one of the keys to victory in Mortal Kombat. Of course, being quick with a joystick doesn't hurt either. The fighters appear as digitized actors set against a variety of backgrounds. Although you'll do better if you just concentrate on the fighting, the backgrounds are richly colored and beautifully detailed. All the pretty scenery in the world won't save a bad game, though. Fortunately,
I
it
guess
doesn't
it's
have
beautifully
to.
detailed.
Fighters leap at each other with deadly speed and pound each other bloodily with vicious attacks. Mortal Kombat isn't for the meek, but if you think the violence is better than chess, this is the game for you. At the core of Mortal Kombat is a fast-paced martial arts battle to the death. All fighters have a common pool of moves they can use against each other, from a simple punch in the face to a sweeping crouch kick that knocks the opponent's legs out from underneath them. Some fighters have good luck with jumping across the screen for a quick kick in the head, while others are better at getting up close and
LGR's
personal.
backyard
Here,
got
beautiful
invaded
and
by
deadly Sonya
bears?
shows Scorpion how to realign
No, I
his
didn't
back.
hear that.
Breaking
What
up
the
to a foe
hell?
and physically attacking
Oh,
them is
no.
only part of the fun. Each combatant has
poor
at least 2
LGR,
special
yeah,
moves to assault
LGR,
opponents with, many
had
of
it.
which can be implemented from
kidding me?
long range. These special attacks are powerful and generally are not
One
easy
bear.
to block.
Okay, that's
Here,
wild.
Liu Kang and Sub-Zero fight a long-range elemental battle with fire and ice.
We only
The
have a
pitfall to the special
raccoon
move
here.
is that there
We
is
don't,
usually
we
a
don't
brief
have
period
bears, at
before or
least.
after
Oh,
the
my
move is
God.
executed when the fighter is extremely vulnerable. There are no special requirements for entering into the Mortal Kombat tournament. You don't even have to be human. Enter Raiden, God of Thunder. It is rumored that Raiden assumed the form of a human to enter the tournament after a personal invitation from Shang Tsung, the evil wizard who holds sway over the contest. Although immortal, Raiden can be beaten, but those lightning bolts he keeps throwing at his opponents aren't going to make matters easier. The mysterious ninja Scorpion wants to have a little talk with Johnny Cage. Deadly, even at long range, Scorpion can snare opponents with a barbed harpoon and reel them in to explain things to them personally.
Okay.
The strength of this move is that the harpoon hurts Scorpion's opponent and then sets them up for a physical attack, and is especially
No,
effective
it's not the
followed by
Oh No
a
Garbage
powerful
Raccoon
uppercut.
who's in
in
our,
case you
our
haven't figured
yard.
it out
It
yet,
is the
all the blood and gore
Oh
the
Yes
arcade
Garbage
game was
Raccoon.
notorious
They
for has
love
found
our
its way to the
garbage.
PC. Yes, and what would Mortal Kombat be without mortality? After beating an opponent in 2 out of 3 fights, the player has the opportunity of dispatching the victim in a special way. It's called the finishing move, and each character has a different one. 2 things are required to execute a finishing move. First,
Oh,
you have to
the
figure it
bear
out,
ate
as
the
they are not
habanero
included in the
bird feed.
documentation.
No!
Secondly, you must be quick
The
and
bear
precise
loves
with your controller of
spicy
choice.
food.
Finishing moves are
Oh,
usually complicated, and there isn't much time to perform them before your opponent falls dead at your feet. They're not easy, but they're lots of fun. Some finishing
Oh, there's
moves
a lot
aren't
of wild
as cute as
animals
Sonya's,
in Texas
if you can call
cities.
blowing
You'd think
someone a
they'd be-
kiss
no,
and
they're
burning
not
them
shot.
to a cinder cute. Take the way
They
Kano
learn
kills, for
to
instance.
live.
He has lots of heart. In fact, I think he collects them. As if being chopped to pieces by a flying blade and bashed
We've
by
had,
a human
like,
cannonball weren't enough.
raccoons,
If you let Kano get down to the wire,
possum
he'll
once
punch
in
right
the
through your
backyard.
chest
It was
and
really
rip out
cute.
your heart. Of course, he'll even show it to you while it's still beating. I mean, after all, not to show it to you would be rude. Pressing the low punch and low kick buttons increase your power on the meter. When you have pushed your power over the marker, the block
Oh, we
button
had a
delivers
wasp
your
come in
blow.
the house
You
the other
start off
night. I had to
easy
get
by
that
smashing
sucker.
wood, but you'll progress to tougher substances like stone, steel, ruby, and diamond. As much fun as finishing moves are, there is a place where you might not want to use one. That place is the bridge. If you win a fight on the bridge, finishing your opponent off with an uppercut instead of your finishing move will cast the unfortunate soul down into this pit of spikes.
Ew.
Vlad the Impaler would be proud. You won't get any bonus points, but you'll get to see some extra grossness, which is the name of the game. It's the little optional touches like this that make Mortal Kombat for the PC such a good conversion.
Yeah,
Diamond
wasp,
bashing,
very
the reptile
exciting.
spikes, it gives me a warm, fuzzy feeling. For those of you who think Mortal Kombat is just a flashy joystick jiggler, get a life. It also takes strategy to conquer this game. Maybe not the same level of tactical thought required to storm the stars in Master of Orion, but strategy just the same. First, you must know thyself.
Oh no, Reefer, that's
particularly what makes
awful.
thyself
I
kill and
hate
be
wasps.
killed. You must have the
They
same
are my
knowledge of your
enemies.
opponent. Here, Raiden has made a potentially costly mistake. Shooting his lightning from across the screen gave Sonya the opportunity to duck it. He will now be vulnerable for a second while he recovers, which will give Sonya ample time to RSVP. A most effective mortal move is Sub-Zero's Deep Freeze. By shooting a bolt of ice from his palm, Sub-Zero can freeze an opponent solid. While this process doesn't hurt the freezee directly,
I think
it keeps
there are
them
bears
ziplocked
in
long enough for
Texas.
Sub-Zero to waltz in
I mean,
and
Davy
give him a good
Crockett
pummeling.
killed one.
The move
so-
isn't totally
but
safe
he was
to
from
execute,
Tennessee,
though.
not
If
Texas.
the bolt misses or is blocked, Sub-Zero is caught at a delicate time while he
do
replenishes
have
his
deer,
energy.
though.
Also,
Ah,
an
it's a deer.
overzealous player shooting at an opponent who is
Oh, and
already
feral
frozen
hogs.
will
Yeah,
find
we
that the
got
bolt
those.
reflects back at the caster. Definitely a no-no.
I've never seen
The
a hog
brutal
in our
mercenary
yard, though.
Kano may be the
Our
slowest
yard,
fighter in the
hog
match,
free.
but don't think he can't chop you into quivering pieces if you give him the chance. Although not the best at hand-to-hand fighting, Kano can toss a spinning blade through the air that is gruesomely effective, even if the opponent blocks the shot. He can also launch himself through the air like a cannonball and batter his opponents to the ground. Hey, who needs to be quick when you can kill from across the room? If you let Sub-Zero get the better of you, he'll take your head off. Spine included, of course. I said before that Mortal Kombat is a bloody, violent
I
game,
love how
but I
bad
think it
that
bears
spine
repeating.
looks in the
The
original
Sega Genesis
Mortal
and Game Gear
Kombat. That
versions
looks like
include a password that
Legos.
must
I
be
love
typed
it.
to show the blood and fatalities, while the Super Nintendo version was completely censored by that company's strict guidelines. Oh, sure, go ahead and kill somebody, but oh, don't show the blood. On the PC, however, there's no way to turn the blood off, which is why the box carries a warning sticker giving the game a mock rating of PC-17. If seeing a body in more than one piece offends you, later. I was genuinely and pleasantly surprised at what a quality product the PC conversion of Mortal Kombat turned out to be, especially in the wake
I
of
don't
the
know if
Street
he
Fighter
was
II
doing,
apocalypse.
if it was a
All the little
concerned
touches
mother
are here,
voice
along
or
with
a
the
gay
important
voice.
things like
It's hard
good
to
graphics
tell.
and 4-button joystick support. Most importantly, the gameplay is as fast and breathtaking as the arcade and Sega Genesis versions. The digitized fighters may look a little pixelated in these stills, but you won't notice that in the heat of combat. Although the first version shipped doesn't support the Sound Blaster 16, that problem will soon be solved, and for free too. Kudos to Acclaim for taking the time to put out a first-rate game instead of copping out and trying to make a quick buck like
It was
some
a
people I
concerned
won't
game
mention.
mother, yes.
If you liked Mortal Kombat in the arcade, you'll like it on the PC. It's that simple.
All right. If we
What-
like Mortal Kombat, what else should we try? Actually, let's hear the second opinion first.
This game is a fairly accurate representation of the arcade hit. The graphics, sound, and gameplay are reproduced about as accurately as is possible on the PC. It's not quite up to arcade quality, but performing those fatalities is still good enough to get the old adrenaline pumping.
All right. What are the pros?
Graphics and sound are excellent. Gravis gamepad support is a blessing, gameplay is very fast, and feels like the arcade game. All elements of the arcade game are included, too, including the reptile and the pit, and the fatalities are even bloodier than the Sega Genesis and Game Gear versions.
All right. I remember the hogs that were tearing up the country club. Those hogs are great. I think that that's what we should do. Is we should just put all the feral hogs in the golf courses and just let nature run its course.
On slower systems, this game runs very slowly. A 486-33 or better is a must. For anything but low detail level, a Visa Local Bus video card is highly recommended. Oh yeah, and some people might take offense at seeing losers get their spines ripped out, heads blown off, and similar gruesome effects.
I think it's fine. All right. If we like that, what else should we try? Rise of the Robots and body blows. Folks, is Rise of the Robots as good as Mortal Kombat? I say yes. I say it's just as good, if not better.
We'll be right back after these messages.
Okay.
Take to the skies for glory and cash in Apogee's new shoot-'em-up, Raptor. Check out the demo in this episode of IE.
Do you have what it takes to storm the Castle Intimar and retrieve the mighty axe Camelcod? You don't have to go alone. Take 3 companions to help in your quest. Fight off the mighty Taldors and practice a little medieval chemistry. It's up to you to lead your group of hardy adventurers in the search for Camelcod, the Axe of Power, and reunite the dwarves in Bloodstone from Minecraft. Not only is Bloodstone included free with this episode of IE, but we also give you helpful hints to fulfill your quest. Be sure to check out our Bloodstone tutorial under the hints and tips section from the table of contents.
Get
We
some
now
Bloodstone.
return you to the show.
Origamo.
Admit it, there are times when you simply can't cope with the bewildering variety of game options available in the 90s. After
True.
wading through the latest CD-ROM, 3DO, and 8-disc Total Warfare packages, you may find yourself longing to curl up with your Game Boy and spend some quality time playing Tetris. If that's the case, you're ready for Origamo from QQP. The object of the game, moving shapes to complete a puzzle, couldn't be much simpler. However, be forewarned that this game is seductive and has mysterious powers that make you forget you've been sitting in front of your computer for 3 hours. You play Origamo in the Maze of Eternity. The maze consists of a series of rooms, each of which has 3 puzzles of varying degrees of difficulty to solve. You must pluck
I
tiles
don't
from
want to
a
get in
moving
trouble
conveyor
for the
belt
nudity.
and use them to cover up the origami figure. While the deceptively simple
nudity
task
gone.
of solving
This is
the
much more
puzzles is enough
normal.
to drive you over the edge,
This is very normal.
there's a larger game involved. Once you solve a puzzle, you can move to an adjacent room. Making your way through the rooms gets you closer and closer to departing the maze.
Yeah, I kind of like this game. It looks
As
really
infuriating as the
bonkers.
puzzles can be, working within the maze could drive a saint to drink. You can't enter some of the rooms until you've picked up an object or have performed a task in another room. Since the manual offers little help in this area, you're reduced to wandering around from room to room,
I didn't see
hoping
that you said thanks
stumble
for the
onto
tea,
right
dude.
place.
You want my shades?
If the maze really bugs you, you can bypass it entirely by choosing Random in the main menu. There are 3 levels of maze play. Gameplay is also divided into 3 levels. And taking the 3 theme to its fullest, each room has 3 puzzles. The more points a puzzle is worth, the harder it is. Within the puzzle, tiles come in 7 shapes. Once you pick up a tile, you can rotate it to make it fit the particular part of the puzzle you've targeted. If you decide you want to get rid of the tile, or if you're looking to free up some space on your conveyor belt, you can put the tile onto a dump belt.
The dump belt, huh?
Is broken into several patterns. If you cover an entire pattern, the conveyor belt clears. This is a handy facet of the game, since if the conveyor belt fills up, you lose. Beware of being lured into a false sense of security by an easy-looking puzzle. Quite often, the breakneck pace of the conveyor belt leaves you frantically scrambling to find the proper tile. Also, take a look at the puzzle before you begin playing it. Some of the puzzle pieces are practically hidden, and it's irritating as hell to blow a puzzle because you failed to notice one piece tucked up in one of the corners. In addition to working your way through the maze, you can also impress your friends and improve your self-confidence by building up record scores. This means you must make a decision over how you want to play the game. You can leave a room once you've solved one puzzle, but you build a higher score by playing all 3. This is the type of intimate, personal decision that only you can make for yourself. Origamo is a throwback, but it's a damned entertaining one. However, I do have a bone to pick with the designers. Having gone back and forth across the eternally endless maze about a dozen times, I finally worked my way through the final puzzle and emerged from the end of the maze, only to be greeted by Buddha releasing balloons in the air. I'm sorry, but that's not enough. Give me fireworks and a major celebration. After all, I've just achieved eternal bliss through Origamo.
Origamo, what are you? Give me a second opinion.
I predict the next healthcare trend to sweep the country will be origamo addiction. We'll be reading about how too much of anything isn't good for you. We'll also read sad tales of the origamically challenged, poor souls who can't play the game very well.
Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen.
This game isn't very complicated, and you can make it as hard or as easy as you wish. There are 3 different overall difficulty levels you can choose at the start, and each room has 3 puzzles of varying difficulty.
And the cons?
I was not impressed by the occasional trick that saw a single piece of puzzle tucked away in one of the corners. There was enough to think about without wondering if a missing triangle would send you back into the maze.
And what else should we try if we like Origamo? The Tetris series and Clacks. Man, Skirator, I saw the Clacks cigarettes posted on the timeline again. Those must be the most disgusting cigarettes on earth. They must, oh my god. All right, folks, it's time for Pacific Strike.
Throughout Origin's long history of publishing games, their games have always been greeted with great expectations. Pacific Strike is no exception.
Yeah, there was
This
an
is the
official
first
pack of
screen you'll
Clack
see when you
cigarettes
enter
made.
Pacific Strike. It would be logical to select Start a New Game. Instead, you just start out on an airfield that's under attack. The career game was quite hard for me to get into, but after you get past the first few missions, Pacific Strike starts to feel just like a Wing Commander game. As you might have already guessed, the interaction in Pacific Strike
No,
is
the
just
Clack
like that of any
cigarette
other
should
sim
be
that they
illegal.
create. Talk to
You
people,
shouldn't
get
be
the
able to
lowdown,
put a
then off
brand
you go to do some
that
fighting.
appeals
The
to
cinematics
children
are well
on
done,
the
but I
cigarette
don't see
package.
why the
I
speech
agree.
pack doesn't give
Like
speech
Walter
to the
Mondale's
characters out of
cigarettes,
combat.
which do exist.
Once you
That
get
that
into the actual
I'm
combat,
okay
you begin to
with.
see why
But
Origin's
Clack
games
cigarettes
are
is
so
too
eagerly
far.
anticipated. The graphics are beautifully detailed with incredible color. Aside from minor problems like losing sight of your enemies in the background clouds and some rare blockiness, I'd say that Origin is king of the graphics mountain. As with Pack Strike's spiritual predecessor Strike Commander, you can pan around your cockpit by holding down a button and moving the joystick. When you release the button, your view snaps back to face forward. This is definitely a great feature. Pacific Strike's speed is decent on a 486-66 with 8 megs of RAM.
Thank you for posting the
graphics
Clack
scroll smoothly,
cigarettes.
and there's only minor slowdown when objects pile up on the screen. I found that turning off the clouds helped speed up the game quite a bit without sacrificing realism. One problem I did have was that every time a new sound was loaded, the game would pause for about 1 second. To be fair, the sound for some
Imagine
of the
your
best
first
I've
cigarette
ever
you
heard,
smoked
and the
was a
speech
Clack
almost
cigarette.
perfect.
That's so
I wouldn't have
sad.
minded the pause so much, except my 8 megs of RAM was twice their requirement. I would have liked to see some
And
of that
why
extra
would you
memory
promote
used to
yourself
preload
on a
some
pack
the
of,
commonly
like-
used sounds to eliminate
I
some
guess
of those
your
annoying
video game's
pauses.
addicting.
If you don't feel like actually starting a career, you can go at your own pace and select instant action at the main menu.
Hey, you're addicted to
Unfortunately, the
tobacco.
instant
Play our
action is
video
not all that
game.
instant. It takes a good 3 or 4 minutes to create a single mission, and even if you replay, it takes the same amount of time to reload it. The music isn't bad, but it gets old in a hurry. It would be nice to have a variety of tunes to choose from during my flight. My only other gripe is that the options screen can only be accessed during combat, and not from any of the other menus. Pacific Strike is a downright fun game. Although it does have a few minor quirks, they aren't likely to bug you unless you're as anal retentive as I am and don't really detract from the overall enjoyment of the game. If realistic action and intense graphics get your adrenaline pumping, look no further. Pacific Strike is the game for you.
All right, they like Pacific Strike.
Throughout-
Let's no second opinion. But we got some pros
The
and cons.
graphics are great, the gameplay is good, the AI is good, and the game is just plain fun. The instant action is far from instant. Maybe it should have been called the 3-minute warning. Pauses for loading mar the otherwise excellent sounds. It's also annoying that you can't fly for the Japanese side.
Why not? You can. Okay, what else should we try if we like this? Yeah, that sounds also about Pacific. Yeah, I remember I've been in a couple smoky arcades back in the day, but I think by the mid 90s when I was really hitting arcades, that was kind of stopping. Let's see, let's go back to reviews and let's see Peter Pan.
It's been widely successful
Oh my
as a
God,
book
look at
in
him.
the movies, on stage, and on television. Now Peter Pan thrives in another format as part of the Story Painting Adventures series from EA Kids. Don't give all the credit to Peter Pan, though. The design of this game will please your kids as much as the age-old story of the boy who wouldn't grow up. This is a truly interactive game which will give your kids a chance to help Peter Pan in his battle to save Wendy from Captain Hook. Using a set of animated paint tools called the Paintbox Pals, your kids will be able to jump in when Peter needs a hand. The help they lend
This reminds me of
might be drawing a
Page
trumpet to get rid of
Master.
a snake, or painting a cold blue tint that will freeze a ferocious alligator. Each scene includes an average of 7 different options to help out Peter Pan. Since there are over 30 scenes to choose from, it's doubtful that your kids will become bored with this release anytime soon. When you combine the colorful graphics package with the interactive Paintbox Pals, this story painting adventure is worth adding to your collection.
We'll be right back.
For a little taste of life in hell, bring a big gun and visit Id's
Hear this
Doom.
doom?
Check out the demo in this episode of IE.
With stunning rendered graphics and sound,
I do like the
including an
skeleton.
original
I'm
soundtrack
sorry, the
by the
skeleton's
Fat
very
Man,
good.
CD-ROM gamers were given a glimpse of things to come with the 7th guest. Now, Trilobite and Virgin cross yet another threshold of suspense as they take you back to Stoff's mansion to confront his evil legacy in the 11th hour. Check out the preview of this month's cover feature of IE.
And now, back to interactive entertainment.
Okay, let's let's check out. Oh, did we do the pros? Yeah, we did that. Peter Pan pros and cons.
The graphics package has a clean, sharp look. The story moves along quickly, and using the interactive Paintbox Pals will be very simple for your children.
And what are the negatives to Peter Pan?
There's no age range listed for this game, but it's a good bet that if you have kids above the age of 10, they probably won't enjoy this as much as some of the younger children in your house.
All right, and what else should we try? Putt Putt, Fatty Bear, and oh, Digby spotted. Digby spotted. Digby spotted, folks. Oh, it's a good day. It's a good day. All right, next up, Rebel Assault.
Rebel Assault is the most anxiously awaited game for the Sega CD in living memory. It's been almost 20 years since we first saw the Death Star poof, but the thought of flying that historic battle still makes us drool. Now that the game is almost here, a sneak peek showed me that Genesis CD owners are in for a game that was worth the wait. Before you tackle the Empire, you must first prove yourself at the Rebel training grounds.
Putrid drink.
This is actually
now I'm
one
drinking
of the
something
parts
clear
of the game.
and delicious.
Your first
it's
task
water.
is to fly through Beggar's Canyon on Tatooine. Not the easiest thing to do, even with no one shooting at you. The controls are a little touchy and take some getting used to, but they're improved somewhat from the PC CD-ROM version. On some missions, you view your fighter from a top-down perspective as you shoot or bomb your targets, which are conveniently highlighted with green boxes. Both
I wasn't
maneuvering
drinking
and firing
green
in this round of play was
soup.
made
I
more
was
difficult since the controllers seemed
this
to stay about
green
a half second behind
putrid
me.
juice.
After completing your training, you move on to bigger targets. How's about taking on a Death Star, TIE fighter escort and all? Shooting the command modules is the key to downing these behemoths, but keeping the TIE fighters from toasting your X-Wing between attack runs is just as important. The game takes a continuity break from the movies when it comes to the all-terrain armored transport walkers. They were too tough for the Snowspeeder's lasers in The Empire Strikes Back, but firing at an invulnerable target is boring. Instead of tying up their legs, you have to shoot out each panel of armor. There's a lot of them, but if you're persistent, the result is just what you've been waiting for since 1980. What would a Star Wars arcade game be without swarms of TIE
Krunga, which
trying to turn
prebiotic did you
into
try?
Rebel
Olipop?
tartar? You'll get your fill of man-to-man fighter combat as you blast your way through wing after wing of these Imperial gnats. Thank the maker for those
Olipop,
little
yeah.
boxes. Not all the action
I
in
like
Rebel Assault
Olipop,
takes
but I
place
like
in the
putrid
cockpit.
drinks
The
for the. I
invasion
like
of the
most
Hoth
putrid
base
drinks,
forces you to fight
except for the
hordes
one
of
that I
stormtroopers
had.
as you make your
Just
way to
made
your
better
X-Wing.
greens.
Luckily
That's
for
that
you,
I
the
did
bad
not
guys
like.
can't take as much punishment as you. Hasn't anybody told these guys that armor just slows them down and makes them lousy shots? A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, George Lucas had a whopper of an idea. He then immediately cackled and thought, "This will make me rich beyond my wildest dreams." Star Wars is still the hot prospect it was all those years ago. Although it's not an amazing game, Rebel Assault lets us play out those fantasies we've been having since the first time we saw Star Wars. And for that, it's worth the price of admission.
All right, okay. Let's no second opinion. Man, they're really not doing those right now.
Considering that this is the Genesis, the graphics are often spectacular. The action is nice and fast, and the digitized footage from the movies is great. The control is somewhat better than on the PC, and you now get a password after every action sequence. The best thing about Rebel Assault is that it lets us take part in the Star Wars trilogy, a fantasy many of us have harbored for years.
Says you. I only harbor a fantasy of being in Star Trek.
Although better than the PC version, the control is still extremely touchy. Some of the digitized scenery is so pixelated it's hard to see what's going on. The game is entirely scripted, so objects always appear at the same place at the same time, which severely limits replayability.
Okay, and we should also try Sewer Shark. Yes! Yes, we should try Sewer Shark for sure.
Before you tackle the Empire,
No.
you must first prove your...
All right, next page. Russian six-pack?
If you're tired of entertainment software that spends so much time touting the latest technological breakthrough that they forget to turn it into a decent game, you should find Russian Six-Pack a welcome change. The graphics and sound might not be flashy by today's standard, but what this collection of 6 puzzle games lacks in glitz, it more than makes up for in quality gameplay. The main menu should give you an idea of what you'll find in this package. While not state-of-the-art by any means, the graphics are nicely drawn and pleasant to look at, even in low-res VGA. The menu is well organized and simple to use, with buttons for toggling music and sound effects on and off. Although a mouse is supported in all games, I found myself using the mouse for the menu and the keyboard for most of the games. Flying Pictures is a unique and addictive game, a good way to start off this collection. The object is to remove fruit from the cellar until less than 5 blocks remain. You play by moving Alice up and down the ladder on the right of the screen and throwing fruit from right to left. If the fruit you've thrown comes in contact with a similar piece, the struck fruit vanishes and the fruit you threw takes its place.
Fruit!
The next fruit you will throw will then be of the same type as the
So
one
what
on the far
makes this
side
Russian?
of the fruit you just eliminated. Got
I
all
assume
that?
the games are
In
from
the
Russia?
game of Crete, the object is to guide King Theseus out of the labyrinth. This is done by manipulating the tiles that make up the labyrinth to move the wall,
Yeah,
constructing a passage to the
my
exit. Adjacent
Oscar
tiles can
the
be swapped, and
Crouch-ass.
horizontal and vertical rows of tiles can be cycled. The placement of walls in a tile can also be altered, although this will cost the player 20 moves. A high price to pay when you consider that you have a finite number of moves to escape each labyrinth. In Line Man, the player must rotate the pieces of pipe on the screen to create closed sections of pipe, which then disappear, causing the remaining tiles on the screen to squash together as tight as possible.
That
This
looks
game
so
reminds me of
good.
the shareware
I
puzzle
love games like
Oil Well
this.
and Lava Cat,
Games
but
like
in
this
those
are
games,
so
The player
good.
was given pieces of pipe to string together.
Pipe
and
Dream?
in Line Man, you must work with
It's a
what's
pipe
already
scream.
there.
I love it.
Master of Bombs is the most Tetris-like game in the Russian six-pack. There are dozens of Tetris clones floating around in the shareware realm, but Master of Bombs blows them away by introducing new strategy instead of just revamping the graphics. Instead of tiles, grenades and bombs fall from the top of the screen, and it'll be your job to clear them away. Each bomb has 1 to 4 yellow connecting fuses, and by moving the bomb so that the fuses connect, the player links bombs together into a series. Detonators fall every so often.
Yeah, this is
destroying
a
the bombs they
depressing
touch.
version of Tetris.
Naturally,
I kind
a
of
linked set
enjoy
of bombs
it. It's
can also
very
be touched off
depressing.
by a single detonator. Fast Ring is another game that bears some resemblance to Oil Well and Lava Cat, but offers a totally different strategic challenge. It's a simple variation of Connect the Dots. You start out from the dot of your choice and move in straight horizontal or vertical lines from one dot to another, making sure you end up on the same dot you started out with. It sounds easy until you play it. Shadows is a strange game to put into this
That looks
collection
cool.
since it's more of an arcade game than a puzzle or
their
strategy game.
games are developed
The
in Russia?
playfield
Okay,
is bounded
okay.
by 4 elastic walls which will disappear if you don't complete a round in the allotted time. Asteroids bounce around inside these walls and a few of them are invisible. Your job is to destroy all the asteroids by hitting them with your target. Your target is also bouncing from wall to wall, and by way of the 4 cursor keys, you can influence its path to a degree, making it speed up, slow down, or curve slightly. Even though I'm not a big fan of puzzle games, I found a lot to like in Russian Six-Pack. It stresses gameplay over graphics, which is something many of our American software houses should get back in the habit of.
Agree.
The games included here should appeal to all ages, making this an excellent game for parents to play with their kids. If you're looking for some intelligent entertainment on your PC, pick up Russian Six-Pack. You're not likely to be disappointed.
All right, Russian six-pack.
If you
Ooh, it's got a second opinion. I like how Mega Man X didn't get a second opinion or whatever, but this does.
I suppose if you like puzzle games, this is okay, but it didn't do much for me. The menu was clunky, and the graphics in most of the games are pretty ugly. I don't really like puzzle games, but if I did, I'd probably play something that looks a little nicer, like Lemmings or Goblins.
The collection of games in Russian Six-Pack are high-quality puzzlers, and some are very addictive. The wide variety of games and strategies included should help this collection appeal to a wide audience.
And the cons?
The graphics and sound are not flashy in the least, bearing a closer resemblance to shareware games than today's commercial offerings. The game Shadows doesn't involve much strategy or puzzle solving and is not likely to keep people interested for long.
Okay, and we should also try Tetris. Yeah, no shit. Okay, what else is there? SimCity 2000 Disasters.
Now that you've completely mastered SimCity 2000, the makers of the game seem to feel you're ready for a challenge. That's the only logical explanation for Scenario's 1 Great Disasters, the first add-on from Maxis for its incredibly popular SimCity 2000.
And now for a word from our sponsors.
As the sun in SSI's AD&D series slowly sets in the west, role-playing takes on a new twist with Al-Qadim. In this fresh Arabian setting, you play the role of a corsair, a rough-and-tumble warrior whose family is in prison because the family genie was caught destroying ships in a nearby area. The government believes your parents commanded the genie, but you know otherwise and set out to rescue them and uncover the truth. Be sure to check out our review of Al-Qadim in this episode of IE. Strap yourself in and set your sights on Larry Holland as IE ventures
gonna
into the
shoot
hollow
him.
halls of LucasArts for an
No.
up-close and interactive interview with Larry Holland, designer of X-Wing and TIE Fighter. Get Larry's insights on the graphic tapestry of TIE Fighter, what's coming in the
Don't
future,
shoot
and
Larry.
most importantly, how'd they do that? Be sure to check out our interactive interview with LucasArts' Larry Holland in this episode of IE.
I don't know if these guys
now,
did
back to
any
interactive
other
entertainment.
narration work.
This program takes many of the familiar disasters that you've come to know and love in SimCity and produces 10 additional scenarios to test your leadership. Some of them are based in reality. A hurricane in Homestead, floods in Davenport, fires in Malibu, and earthquakes in, you guessed it, San Francisco. Others represent fantasies we've all probably indulged in at one time or another. You can quell a riot by lawyers in Washington, D.C., a compelling argument for police brutality, I might add. In the Just Desserts category,
Excuse
Silicon
me?
Valley Technology develops a new microwave solar
No.
energy source.
We
Then
are
is forced
not going to
rebuild
be
when
doing
the system
police
breaks
brutality
down.
on lawyers.
Then there's a volcano that magically appears in downtown Portland, even though it's extremely doubtful that that area is zoned for eruptions. Like the regular SimCity 2000, the best way to begin
Thank you.
with
No
these new
problems.
scenarios
4
is to
month
take things
resub.
slow.
More like
When Mother Nature is
Will
wreaking
Wrong.
havoc with a hurricane or earthquake,
Yeah, I've never
let the carnage
fantasized about
finish,
quelling a
pause the
riot.
game,
That
then
doesn't seem
regroup.
fun.
When faced with an
I also
ongoing
don't
problem,
fantasize
such as
about
branding
brutalizing
lawyers,
lawyers.
cut the
I'm
speed
normal.
back to turtle. There's something they'll understand. Once you've gained some experience, you can go at a faster pace. There are a few other things you can do to make things a little easier. First and most important, be sure and set the game at no disasters before you begin any of these new scenarios. I learned that the hard way when an earthquake rumbled through just as I appeared to make some real progress cleaning up the after effects of Hurricane Andrea. Also, don't be afraid to take drastic measures to limit the area affected by your particular disasters. If the fires from your mystery volcano in downtown Portland appear to be in danger of spreading, call in the bulldozers and spread some fire breaks to contain the flames, even if it involves knocking down thriving homes and businesses. The odds are good that they were going to be destroyed anyway, and sacrificing
Yeah,
them
we
means
sure
you can
like
save a
talking
lot
about
more.
killing lawyers in
The
the
aftermath of the
90s.
disaster is where the work really begins.
I just want to
Since
put
each
it on
scenario
record.
lays out a
I don't want to
specific set of
murder any
objectives you must
lawyers.
accomplish in order to
Okay,
win.
I know that
Since
might
they all
be
involve building your population
that
back
might
up
be
to a
politically
certain level,
incorrect
it's
to say you don't
imperative
want
that
to
you
murder
literally take
lawyers,
care
but
of
I'd rather
business.
they not die.
Restore your power lines and rebuild your roads immediately. Businesses will fold if they're blacked out or if their employees don't have a way of getting to work. Then take a look at your water system. Disasters always seem to take a heavy toll on the water supply, and the economy will dry up, pun intended, if you don't deal with that problem. Keep an eye on the newspapers. Most members of the media may be nosy, opinionated bastards, but they do provide helpful information. If the paper tells you that the public is clamoring for a new fire station or that a power plant is in danger of shutting down, react accordingly. It'll save you a lot of trouble further down the road. A couple of other notes. Since your Atlanta scenario doesn't include a military base, there's nothing you can do to stop that UFO that looks strangely like a one-eyed mechanical spider. Just contain the flames caused by his evil rays, and he'll eventually go away.
How do you?
You're also going to find that
I guess
you don't
I've
have
never
enough
actually
police or
played a
fire
lot of
protection to
SimCity.
deal with some of your disasters. When this
SimCity
happens,
2000.
squelch the urge to build more police or fire stations to solve the problem. You can build the new stations, but the extra policemen and firemen won't be available until the disaster ends. SimCity 2000's designers understand that life is hard and that unwanted disasters often rear their ugly head and destroy something that took a long time to build. At least with their new Great Disasters add-on, you can protect the city that took you so long to painstakingly create and let the vile volcanoes, lawyers, and UFOs of the world tear up somebody else's town.
Okay, if we liked SimCity 2000 disasters because we're a bunch of freaks, what
Now-
else? What else we
It's
like?
nice that there are some more scenarios to tackle in SimCity 2000, but the fun definitely doesn't begin until the new disasters have finished happening. You would think it would be at least a little exciting to watch a volcano erupt in Portland or a hurricane destroy Homestead, but there just isn't much of anything going on. SimCity Scenarios Volume 1 Great Disasters is fun to play, but no fun to watch.
Okay. Let's
This
see.
program
No. We want to know the pros.
SimCity 2000 Scenarios Volume 1 Great Disasters displays the same vivid imagination that made the original game so popular. This disc gives you 10 additional scenarios to try and complete. Your challenges include rioting barristers in Washington, D.C., and a spindly-looking UFO that lands in downtown Atlanta.
Okay, but what are the cons? Other than, killing people.
Scenarios Volume 1 Great Disasters for the SimCity 2000 does have one problem. It's not real easy to move around in the big cities where these catastrophes are taking place. Whether you're moving around with your mouse or the arrows on the keyboard, you're often frustrated by the fact that the game doesn't immediately respond to your input.
And what else should we try? Sim series. You don't say. Detroit and Ultimate Domain. But I've actually not heard of Ultimate Domain. Now I know what that is. All right, let's see what else is up. Next up is Sink or Swim.
Embarrassing as it may be, there are some PC users left on this earth that still look to their computer as a platform for playing mindless run-and-jump games. The first and best piece of advice to give these people is to buy a console system, of course. Let's face it, people who love Mario should play Mario, and not some clone that's inferior in every conceivable way.
Wow!
For those who insist on using a keyboard instead of a 6-button gamepad, though, there are choices, one of which is Merit Software's upcoming import game, Sink or Swim. The plot of this one is as simple as they get. You play the part of Rourke Storm, a heroic type who finds himself trapped on a sinking ship and attempts to...
Is this game bad? It looks not good.
Each of the game's 61
yeah,
levels
this looks like some
views of a
stuff
certain
I'd
room
have
on
to
the
play
ship,
with
each
Danny
replete with its own unique perils.
Friday.
The constants on each stage, though, are the exits and the passengers, who resemble the Dunkin' Donuts man with a nervous twitch. And
you didn't play this? Okay, it looks like
Two
something
options
we've
are available
played.
from the title screen. Pressing F9 gets you to the configure menu, where you can toggle sound and keyboard joystick control. F10 brings you up the password screen, where you can enter one of the codes given to you after completion of a level, and then start playing at that level. The passengers will run around almost aimlessly until they're saved or killed. There is an easily recognizable logic to their movement, however, namely, climb. Since they'll always go up a ladder, it's usually a good idea to try to steer them towards one, so as to buy you more time in getting them to an exit. Obviously, since the water is at the bottom of the screen, and since the imbeciles have no conception of swimming, you want to avoid leading them downward. Should they fall into the icy depths, and they will, your handy life raft will prove just that. It can only hold so many passengers before it bursts, though, and since you only get one per level, you must use it at the right time. Occasionally, a room will contain some emergency oxygen tanks, which float in the water until they collide with a passenger. We'll then use one. The most challenging rooms are the ones that are being flooded while you're trying to exit them. The water level rises rapidly in these stages, thereby supplying another creative way for you and the stupid passengers to die. Speed is of the essence if you dislike drowning. SOS's graphics are colorful and pleasing
I do
to the
dislike
eye,
drowning.
but many of the stages look so similar that you'll be begging for variety shortly after the beginning. Also, movement is slow, and the smooth scrolling could be smoother. This is unquestionably a lazy game, but that's not all bad. It's fairly relaxing, and given that you can start from any level you've previously beaten, it can be picked up and put down before any stress or anxiety sets in. Make sure you write those passwords down, though. Although it lacks a few
I
elements
do not
that
like
make other
games that
of its
set in
time
stress and
bestsellers,
anxiety
power-ups,
personally,
items,
but that's just
level
me.
editors, etc. Sink or Swim has the makings of a decent puzzle platform game. It won't win any awards for its complexity, but it's humorous and reasonably challenging, and above all, it has the one trait that smart video game players look for above all others.
What?
It's fun.
I thought that the trait we were looking for was good graphics.
Sink or Swim is easy to learn and offers many levels. The passwords let you jump right to the level you want to play, and the graphics, while not earth-shattering, are pleasing.
And the cons?
Gameplay is a little simple. The game doesn't vary enough from level to level, and the sound is mediocre at best.
At best. All right, and what else should we try? Wait, there we go. Fury of the Furries! I think we've definitely played that bad boy on stream. I know we have. Okay. Y'all, Fury of the Furries fans? I think some of you are the Fury of the Furries. Okay, next up is Skitchin!
Skitchin is fun. How fun? Well, if you like intense racing action mixed with a hefty dose of brutality, it's a huge amount
A
of fun.
hefty dose of
Most people in
brutality.
the
That's the
world
kind of
aren't
brutality I
psychotic enough
like.
to rollerblade through heavy traffic, but when experienced in the safety of a comfortable chair, I can see why a handful of suicidal freaks risk life and limb for this unusual
Suicidal
adrenaline kick.
freaks!
There's room for improvement in Skitchin, but the game is off to a fantastic start. Sega and EA are doing a smart thing by covering this game in warnings. Trying to duplicate this sport in the real world can quickly turn a reasonably well-adjusted teenager into 130 pounds of road pizza. There's a warning in the ads, there's a warning on the box, there's a warning in the manual, there's even this warning in the cartridge. The warning only becomes annoying when you must view it for several seconds each time you turn on your Genesis. That's overkill, and if you play the game once, the point should be driven home quite effectively.
We'll be right back.
They should do an ad for Skitchin, but it should be pro Skitchin. It should be like, kids, ignore that warning. Go Skitchin.
Forget reading. Subscribe to IE.
Get reading,
12
get
episodes, only
skitching.
$59. Call now.
Also, why do they say get reading
Delve
when
into
it's,
exciting dungeon action with
no
Hex,
reading is
Heresy
done in
of the
this?
Wizard, coming soon from Psygnosis.
Yeah, Retro
Check out
Pals
the
Pro
preview demo
Skitching.
in this episode of IE.
At least I am.
We now
I
return
believe
to
in
the show.
promoting the
In
skitching
skitching,
lifestyle.
you compete in an inline skating race. The catch is that to boost your speed, you must skitch. To catch passing cars by their rear bumpers and hitch a ride. When you leave one car, you try to slingshot off the bumper to further boost your speed and let you pass other cars and skaters. You'll also perform jumps and tricks and fight it out with competing skaters. If you thought Road Rash was brutal, get ready for a new level of pain and abuse. After each race, you'll see a breakdown of
I
how
love
much
when
money
video
you made
games
and how
offer a
you
new
earned it.
level of pain and abuse.
You'll need every
I think
dollar you
that's
can
good.
scam, because your equipment won't take the abuse you're dishing out. Each car you skitch earns you $1, and you get 5 for every skater you pound into submission. So it pays to be a violent, maniacal punk. Be a scumbag. Good sportsmanship is for tennis
Be a
players.
scumbag.
You'll also get points for doing tricks, but only the more difficult ones will put much in your pocket. The real bucks come from placing well in the race. If your stamina is up, getting into fights can be doubly beneficial. For one thing, any skater you knock down rewards you with $5 at the end of the race. Also, pounding someone into the pavement makes them fall way behind you. Apart from your fists, you can fight with a number of weapons, which you can pick up from the road.
All right, I've had a lot of clear, delicious liquid. I'm having Ozarka's Lively Lemon, which is a very nice lemon-flavored water.
Slammed by some jock dude with a crowbar. You can always let go of the car and live to thrash another day. If you're smart, you'll slingshot off the car and leave the gorilla on wheels to scarf your dust. If you can't thrash them, out.
All of HEB's seasonal stuff was on sale today, so.
Not an Olympic event. You'll be mashed, bashed,
You like to hold on, the
slashed,
music's playing
cracked
Fry.
before you learn to work with motorists and not against them. Take enough bone-cracking blows to your weak little core, your body, and equipment.
Is this just a compilation of getting
Quality sketches
smacked?
from roadkill to road warrior.
But anyways, I got a new cup for $8, and I'm drinking out of it, and I'm very excited. Well, that's my new news. That's a Whataburger! Maybe it was a fake McDonald's, but that was Whataburger to me.
If you know another skate rat willing to shred some asphalt with you, Skitchin offers a simultaneous 2-player mode. Going head-to-head with another human dirtbag is a lot of fun, but it can also be a drag, since the gameplay slows down noticeably, evidence that the Genesis can't quite handle this level of gameplay. Hey EA, maybe this game is better suited to the Jaguar or 3DO.
Wow!
Pixie you skitch, or you'll be out of the race and $50 lighter when they let you out. You're busted if they catch you, but to skitch a cop is to be the most awesome piece of trash on the street. Not only do cops blaze by other traffic, but you'll earn $1 for every second you can hold on to a pig's tail. Just be careful not to get thrown off when they change lanes. You can do tricks by jumping off ramps, falling road signs, speed bumps, trash cans, piles of road crud, and fallen skaters.
Oh my god!
This point of the game.
They're playing like I do. Okay, that was good.
Performs its own trick. You simply tap that trick once as you jump. If you touch anything else before you land, you smear out. It would have been much more fun if EA had taken a lesson from their own Skate or Die and let you work out awesome combos that actually require skill to complete.
Bonk.
Despite a few weak points and the Sega's medium ugly graphics, Skitchin is a real winner. More realistic traffic, an overhead map of the course, and more interesting trick turning would have elevated this to the realm of supreme greatness. But even as is, it wails. If you like brutal racing games, you can't live without it. So get your knee pads on, throw an old Agent Orange tape in the stereo, and get ready for a quality jam. Skitchin will thrash you well.
I like how they cut right before they were gonna crash again. Very nice. Okay, but if we like, well, what's your second opinion on Skitchin?
Despite being a Road Rash clone and the enormously stupid concept, Skitchin is an extremely fun game to play. It's got decent graphics, good speed, and the soundtrack is perfect. If you're really looking to have some fun, find another person and skitch it together.
Honey, would you go skitching with me? I ask my loved ones.
The most unique racing game in a long time. Speedy gameplay, ruthless sportsmanship, and extreme brutality make this a game no adrenaline junkie or armchair psycho should be without. It even has a good thrashy soundtrack, although don't expect Biohazard to sample it for their next album. The graphics are not impressive, but that's more a limitation of the hardware than a fault with the game. The tricks are too simple, and don't really require skill to pull off. A more interactive tricks feature, complete with combination moves, would have made this even better. An overhead course map to let you know when jump opportunities are coming up would have been nice too.
And if we like skitching, what else should we try? I'm assuming Road Rash. No! What? Escape from Monster Manor? Total Eclipse? Sorry for getting so loud there, but no. 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 I think an error happened. I think those maybe I don't know. Maybe there's something I should know. All right, it's time for a Super Metroid.
A few years back, an original sci-fi adventure game was released for the 8-bit Nintendo. The game was called Metroid. It had all the trimmings of a classic game. The story was good and the gameplay was great. Now that game has a sequel, Super Metroid for the Super NES.
Yo!
If you've played the original Metroid, you'll notice immediately that there aren't very many differences. The graphics have been enhanced and the story has been continued, but even parts of the map can be recognized. The new map screen, the new inventory screen, and the new save game feature are the major differences. Super Metroid is not quite as long as the first one, and the fun factor isn't quite as high, but if you've enjoyed the original even the slightest bit, you should definitely look into purchasing Nintendo's latest adventure. It's worth it.
Okay, that was short, sweet, to the point. Any pros and cons? There we go.
Super Metroid's got good graphics, really good gameplay, and it's a hell of an adventure.
And the cons?
It can sometimes get confusing with so many buttons, and the progression of the game is not as smooth as the original.
And what else should we try if we like that? Castlevania series and the Mario Brothers series. Yeah, that makes some sense. All right, time for Super Wing Commander.
The 3DO system has been out for several months now, and the games have been a disappointment to say the least. Everyone's heard what the system can do, but there really hasn't been a game to prove it. Even though the games are graphically impressive, the poor controllers totally killed gameplay. Sadly, Super Wing Commander continues this unfortunate trend. The first thing you'll see when you start the game is the incredible rendered opening animation.
Beautiful.
You'll be hard-pressed to find a better one on any platform. In fact, the whole game
Skitchin is
seems
just
to
the more
revolve
interesting
around the
game compared to
wonderful
Super
cinematics.
Metroid.
Origin might
That
have
was
been
what
better
people were
off just making
craving.
a short rendered movie and skipping the actual game. Origin's trademark has long been the so-called interactive movie. After each mission, you can talk to another member of the crew, and depending on how well your last mission went, the progress of the war against the Korathi gets better or worse. Though this is usually pretty cool, Super Wing Commander is plagued by bad voices and over-painted portraits. In the original PC version, the portraits of the characters maintain the suspension of belief a hell of a lot better. The actual graphics in the game are only so-so. The ships are about on par with past versions, with the exception of ship close-ups. These are just a little better on the 3DO. In space, however, the graphics will make you scream. The planets are nice, but the abundant stars are corny. This inspires the feeling that you're flying in a cheap Hollywood set, not a far-off galaxy. The music, as in most Origin games, is good. It's taken life from the previous versions of Wing Commander with only a few revisions here and there. However, the sound effects could be a lot better. I mean, come on, this is a 32-bit system here. Let's hear some...
I think people should do Skitchin for real for charity.
Not these puny little screeches.
Maybe don't grab onto a cop car. That's probably too illegal, but you know.
Me what your menu choices are, i.e., enter simulator, talk to hunter, enter barracks, etc., etc. The voices and dialogue during the battle are downright stupid, with the Korathi barking out hokey taunts like,
"Thank you, Luna. For the fall."
A third grader could come up with better
Enjoy
insults
the Crystal
than that.
Pepsi.
A few things have changed in the conversion from PC to 3DO. You have fewer missions to fly,
You know,
and you're
there's
promoted
more
much
Clear
quicker.
Cola out
One of the
there
old
now.
standbys that hasn't
Crystal
changed is
Pepsi
the bug that was
technically
in the
won.
original Wing Commander. All one has to do to negotiate an asteroid or minefield is to put on the old afterburners, and voila, you've made it through. Now, there are some cool things in Super Wing Commander that new and old players alike will appreciate. For instance, take the star map and autopilot options. With Origin's easy-to-use nav point system, traveling in the galaxy is a cinch, even for the wettest behind-the-ears
Thanks
rookie.
for showing off
We'll
the
be right
stream.
back.
Yeah,
You're a dashing hero, dashing
VHS
around the boat
stream was
trying to
pretty
keep
good.
hapless passengers from
I
drowning
I
in Merit
love
Software's Sink
old
or
tapes.
Swim.
I really do.
Check
I got
out
a
the
good one
demo
I'm showing
in
today.
this episode of IE.
Oh no,
And
I'm
now,
so
back to
sorry power went
interactive
out, but I'm glad you
entertainment.
got
Wing
got
Commander
off
veterans
early
will
here.
find that nothing substantial has changed. From the bar scene to the pilot rankings, Super Wing Commander
Are you
is
in, like, the
virtually
path of the
identical to the
hurricane?
previous incarnations. I guess if something ain't broke, you shouldn't fix it. The absolute worst part of the game for me was the control. I can't really blame Origin for this one though. The control would probably be okay if it weren't for the hideous 3DO controller, which absolutely does not allow you to go in diagonal directions. I keep hearing a rumor that this can be improved by loosening the screws on the controller a bit.
I love the
trick
Tiger.
I intend to try real soon now. Overall, Origin has done a decent job of porting this classic to the 3DO. All this game needs is a good joystick, some real dialogue, and maybe some real actors. This wasn't a bad start for Origin, but I hope they work out the kinks for their next 3DO title.
Okay. Let's see the second opinion.
If you're going to port a game to a new platform, it would make sense to make sure the controls work. Animated cutscenes are visually attractive, but that's not gameplay. Hard turns and precision blasting are where it's at, and it's hard to get that out of the 3DO's abysmal controllers.
Okay, what are the pros?
The animated cutscenes are incredible, leaving you with a real sense of being there. Of course, it features the same plot line and intense combat action that sold a couple 100,000 386s a few years back.
And what are the cons?
The control really bites the big one, and somebody seems to have forgotten that the reason they call it space is that most stars aren't really all that close together.
And we should also try escape. Here we go. This makes more sense. They really want us to try Escape from Monster Manor. They are really like, listen, you've got to do Escape from Monster Manor. You have to. If you don't play Escape from Monster Manor, we will die. All right, Take a Break Pinball. That sounds good.
Take a Break Pinball is the second release in the Sierra Dynamics line of Windows-based games designed as a
Willie
quick release
Beamish
from the
spotted!
drudgery of actually working on a computer. As a 15-minute time killer at the office, this collection of 8 colorful pinball games should be a welcome diversion. But taken as a serious pinball simulation, it falls short in more than one area.
Sorry, this is so
the
exciting.
Table art is attractive without being intrusive. More on that later. And the table layout features a good number of goals that require the player to make a wide variety of shots. You'll find yourself aiming at points all over the table with this one, and the wide range of shots to master make Drexon 1 an enjoyable pinball game with lots of replay value. Drexon 2 is another good game, but falls prey to the weak documentation included in this package. Specialty goals like hitting the pion and quark trap holes for multi-ball play are well described in the manual, but the book fails to make any mention of the point values of the more mundane objects on the tables. This table also features a special object, the biphasal cannon. Powering this up and sinking a ball into its loader trap will let you take a shot at Sir Draxon's rather large naval cavities for big points. That's right, a big one up the hunker. Flipped Out Willie is based on the adventures of Willie Beamish. Colorful, isn't it? That's
There's
the problem.
Horny.
This table features so many bright colors and flashing lights that it's nearly impossible to keep your eye on the ball. And any pinball veteran can tell you that knowing where your ball is at a given point of the game is key. Willie has so many multiple ramps, trap holes, and drop targets that it's difficult to keep them all straight. Combine this with the headache of following your ball,
Danny,
and
we
you've
have
got
to play
one
this.
pinball game that's an utter nightmare. Al Lowe's Lovable Geek makes an appearance in Larry's Big Adventure. This is a well-designed table and one of the more difficult ones in this bundle. All specialty goals here require the player to make a difficult collection of shots or hit one ramp or a target a good number of times. One irritating point, though, as with all the games here, you can only achieve multi-ball play once per game. Completing the correct sequence more than once offers the skilled player no reward. Whose bright idea was that? I doubt this feature was a result of consultation with Bally or Williams. This is the first of 3 tables based on the Space Quest series. This is a good game, and the color scheme makes it easier to track your ball than on any of the other tables. The specialties on this table are fairly easy to achieve. One thing, though, the manual states that when you shoot a ball into the Astro Chicken trap hole, an animated Astro Chicken will trot out on the playing field,
Astro
and you
Chicken
get
hole,
squashed by the ball as it kicks out.
I don't know
hit this
anything
trap
about
hole
Space
during
Quest.
many a game, but there seems to be no chicken in my pot. Maybe it's hiding somewhere on the Willie Beamish playfield, in which case I'll never find him. Planet Pinball 2 is a mixed bag, offering good art and a few clever animations, but less than enthralling gameplay. Watching the pterodactyl fly off with a sequel policeman clutched in its talons when you complete the multi-ball sequence is a treat, but apart from that, this table has little to offer. Things go from good to mediocre to
God,
just
I wish
plain
this came with
dreadful in Planet
Windows.
Pinball 3. Is it just me, or does this color scheme look like pinball camouflage? If that wasn't bad enough, Planet Pinball 3 features the worst design by far in this package. Hitting the X, 6, and 9 targets open the gate to the supercomputer room entrance ramp, but a second completion of this sequence closes the ramp back up again. What kind of reward is this? Finishing off this collection is Quest for Daventry, the representative of the King's Quest series. While not actively offensive like Planet Pinball 3,
where's
there
the
just
Police
doesn't
Quest
seem to be much
pinball?
happening here. Keeping track of the ball is easy, mostly because the majority of the playfield is nothing but open space. I have two big problems with this table. First, when you hit the Cedric in Tree trap hole, Cedric the Owl flies out and comes to rest above a target he'd like you to hit. When Cedric flies over to the Madame Mushka Wagon trap hole, I've hit everything from all conceivable angles, but my ball has yet to go in, and I can't understand why. See that chunk of ice midway up the mountain path? It blocks the path quite effectively, and so far I haven't figured out how to get rid of it. The manual is no help at all. One thing all 8 pinball games
I like
have in common
the
is
pinball game
animated
based on
background
the
scenes that
inscrutable.
pop up when
Oh
you
my
achieve a
God,
certain
who is
goal,
she?
like hitting a trap hole or a ramp. While these are nice, they can
What?
prove a deadly distraction. After all, it's hard enough
No,
just keeping your eye on the
what?
ball without purposely looking away and trying
I
to
don't
find
remember
it
the
again.
toad
The way
being
the
that
manual
sexy
reads
and Willy
it sounds like
Beamish.
Sierra put these cute animations and special devices in the game as an apology for not making an accurate pinball simulation.
I have so many questions. Do you have a no second opinion? I love how some of those like Super Metroid, no second opinion, but Take a Break Pinball.
I liked it, but had a hard time getting it to work on my computer. This is a lot better than most other PC pinball games out there. The graphics and sound blew me away. Still, it takes up a lot of hard drive space for a pinball game.
All right, pros.
The graphics are truly beautiful. The sounds are also very good. The games run in 640 by 480 mode, so the entire pinball table can be viewed at once.
And the cons.
Only a few of the tables included here are well designed or remotely fun to play. The ultra vivid colors, along with the extensive use of animation, keeps your eye from following the ball and results in some frustratingly truncated games. The documentation is poor and leaves out many features on some tables, leaving the player guessing what certain ramps and ball traps will do.
And we should also try Pinball Fantasy, Silver Pinball, and Tristan Pinball. I have heard of Pinball Fantasy, but not Silver Ball. That's a good name. Okay. Time Out Baseball. Okay, I'm glad that they showed the Pog and Peter Pan. I really like Pog and Pan.
Consumer warning. If you're looking to actually play a baseball game, don't spend your money on Microleague's Time Out Sports Baseball. To be blunt, this is related to baseball in the same sense that foreplay is related to sex. You get to practice some of your moves, but it's not nearly as satisfying as the real thing. All this game consists of
Don't
is
talk
batting,
like that.
fielding, sign stealing, and arguing with the umpire. It runs from Windows, which means it's something you can install on your computer at work and call up when you have a couple of minutes to kill. The batting and fielding games aren't too bad.
I need like a
The
bucket
umpire
of cold
argument is
water
briefly
redeemed that I
amusing,
can just
while the
dump on
sign
the stream
stealing consists of
occasionally when
you
it gets
mimicking
too
the
much
gestures
like
of a
that.
base coach. Sounds pretty exciting, huh? It's possible that part of my disappointment with Time Out Sports Baseball stems from the fact that I thought this was a regular baseball game, particularly when I saw that I had to install 3 discs to run it. Having thought about that, I've decided that I had every right to be upset. I thought I was going to play baseball, and I got stuck with a half-assed demo game instead.
Okay, they hated Time Out Baseball.
The graphics in this game are clear and sharp. The 4 different games you can play are very easy to run, and this whole package is built for someone who has a brief period of time to kill while they're working at their computer.
And the cons?
What's the point of having a baseball product where you aren't able to pitch? Of course, that query is overridden by a larger question of what's the point of putting out a baseball product where you can't actually play a baseball game?
I mean, that's fair. I also agree that you should be able to play a baseball game in the baseball game. All right.
And now for a word from our sponsors.
Delve
Gotta
into
check out the other
exciting
stuff.
dungeon action with Hex, Heresy of the Wizard, coming soon from Psygnosis. Check out the preview demo in this episode of IE. Just when your workday starts to get terminal,
You
here come
told me
Bernie
this
and his
game
dog Jock
sucked.
to treat you to
You
Micro
literally
League
just
Timeout
told me
Sports
this game
Baseball.
sucked. Why
Check
are you
out the demo
advertising
in this
it?
episode of IE.
And now, back to interactive entertainment.
All right, let's check out the also try here. Take a Break series and the Windows Entertainment packs. Done. All right, we're on to the final page. We've got Ultimate Domain, which I was actually asking about. I want to know more about this. XCOM and Young Merlin.
Do you have X-ray vision? Are you strong enough to subdue a bulky interface? Can you leap tall buildings? No, forget that last one. Just be prepared for a workout when you play Ultimate Domain from the Software Toolworks. What we have here is a solid concept completely undercut by poor design. This game, set in the fantasy world of Genesia, pits you against 2 other players in a race to become the first to recover 7 of 9 lost jewels. Starting with 4 settlers and 1 territory, you're required to build your economy to the point where you're able to send your army out beyond your borders to seize unclaimed land, wipe out your enemies, and garner information about the legendary missing jewels. Unfortunately, your quest to become the crown jeweler is encumbered by the game's poor interface. To move around within Ultimate Domain, you move the mouse to the edge of the screen. This type of movement control has been mastered by countless other games, but it doesn't work well at all here. You'll often find yourself overshooting when you scroll the screen because it scrolls too fast. As a change of pace, the screen occasionally doesn't move at all. You can move around by using the arrow keys, but this is very slow. This all adds up to a lot of time wasted looking around for your people and buildings. A major problem since you have a limited amount of time during your turn. Then there's the problem of obstructions by flora and fauna. For instance, the only way you can gain access to the trade screen where you change your settlers' occupations is to click on a brown flag. Now, for 5 bonus points, find the flag on this screen.
Oh, I can't see it at all.
If you found it hidden behind these trees, your vision is much better than 2020.
Yeah, I didn't see that at all. Oh my god.
That drop out of view. In this shot, I've just used my cannon to blow away a tree because one of my army units was hidden behind it. I knew the unit was somewhere in that area, but I couldn't move it until I did a little full contact landscaping. Sure, I could have used the destruction icon, but my method was much more fun. Unmanageable mice aside, this is a sound strategy game that requires a lot of patience. It's very important to manage your settlers in a proper fashion early in the game. They're flexible and will perform any task you ask them to. Keep an eye on their morale, which is the key to expanding your population. Happy peasants get together and produce baby peasants, who quickly grow up and enter your service. Also, wandering nomads won't wander into your territory if the morale is low. Each of the 4 seasons.
Yeah, this is like a strange version of
each season brings a
Populous. BMO, welcome. Yeah, I'm glad you have internet too. It's been really, this storm's been wild. We actually didn't get hit too bad where we were. We got real lucky.
Stay indoors and work year-round. Technology is the key to blowing your opponents to hell and back later in the game, so you should get your inventors working as soon as possible. They're starting from scratch. The wheel hasn't even been invented yet, and their pool of knowledge builds in a logical fashion. You must build a workshop for your inventors to work in, and for your blacksmiths to build the inventions. Other important buildings that you'll need are a barracks, where you raise your army, raise your taxes, and propose alliances with the other players.
Cool monks.
A temple, where you store the jewels that you manage to find. And a tavern, where you'll be able to question travelers about the location of the missing jewels. There isn't much suspense over the outcome of your battles against opposing units, since the side with more firepower invariably wins. But the graphics took me back to the cartoons I used to watch when I was a kid. I half expected Yosemite Sam and Bugs Bunny to emerge from the cloud of smoke that denotes a battle. When your archers shoot an
you're on mobile?
No!
Oh, I'm sorry.
Keep in mind that your soldiers are good
I hope
for
you get internet back soon.
The jewels aren't necessarily in occupied territory, so it's a good idea to have a few units out wandering the land, trying to scoop up any stray baubles that might be lying around. Ultimate Domain is an entertaining game that demands a lot of time, since it takes a while to get to the point where you can start seriously challenging your opponents. It's just a damn shame that the designers buried an otherwise excellent game under an unmanageable interface.
Okay. This gets a second opinion.
An interesting mix of management and war. The game forces you to make some informed decisions on your economy when you begin, setting the stage for you to ravage your opponents.
And the pros?
This is a very logical game. As the seasons change, the jobs that your settlers perform also change. Your technology is very limited when you start playing, but grows by leaps and bounds as your inventors acquire more knowledge. And there are very few surprises in battles. If you have superior forces, you'll prevail.
Right, and the cons?
The interface design is horrible. You change locations by moving your mouse to the edge of the screen, but this simple concept falls to pieces because the screen scrolls too quickly. This problem results in your wasting valuable time trying to locate your armies and settlers.
Okay, and we should also try, it's going to say Populous. All right. Who's putting bets on Populous? It's got to say Populous. Yeah, first one mentioned. Okay, that makes sense. Well, if anyone wants to try Populous but Bad, we've got Ultimate Domain. Now, speaking of games people like, XCOM.
It's 1999, and the U.S. government is no longer refusing to acknowledge the existence of UFOs. As a matter of fact, there are so many of the damn things buzzing the Earth that an interplanetary task force called the Extraterrestrial Combat Unit, or XCOM, has been formed to track down the alien visitors, and you're in charge. In the world of UFO Enemy Unknown, a PC strategy game from Microprose, these tourists from another galaxy aren't ET clones searching for a payphone to call home. These aliens are out to rape our women, enslave our children, and generally turn the world into an extremely miserable place to live.
Watch yourself. I'm streaming over here.
You must try to build XCOM into a force capable of turning back the aliens. This is not a game to play if you're in a hurry. As a matter of fact, it's so vague I couldn't find any specific reference in the player's handbook as to what it takes to win. The designers give you a very basic foundation of information to start. Then it's up to you to spend enough time with the game to learn what it takes to succeed. The best place to start UFO Enemy Unknown is with the 3-part gameplay tutorial. This will show you how to move around in the geoscope, which is where you locate your GCOM
Yeah, I've never played
and
XCOM.
track UFOs, how to move your troops around in the battlescape when you actually engage the aliens, and how to establish and equip your bases. Since this game quickly reaches the point that you can't swing a dead cat around without hitting a UFO, tracking the aliens is simple. Your radar screen alerts you to their presence, and you quickly scramble
you are
and intercept them to
290s.
chase the
Chill it
UFO
out.
down. Being careful to shoot the enemy craft down over land, since it's hard to track aliens on the ocean floor, you return to base and send out another plane to the crash site with a team of soldiers that you hope can vanish the galactic villains. Once you reach the UFO crash site, you're working in the battlescape. After the aliens completely embarrass you in your first 4 or 5 meetings with them, you eventually figure out that tactics are extremely important, and that, once again, patience is a virtue. You can bring as many soldiers as the plane will hold to fight the aliens. A helpful hint here, try to keep at least one crew member in the plane after you land. If things get nasty, you'll need to have at least one survivor in order to fly back to your home base and explain what went wrong. This is a turn-based game. Each of your soldiers has a set number of time units, and every action requires a certain number of those units. Once you've finished moving your forces, you end your turn and the alien forces respond to your movements. At the beginning, you're working with a group of rookies who can't shoot straight, are susceptible to panicking, which means they can't move for one turn, or even worse, go berserk, which means you have to kill them before they wipe out your landing party. However, if you exercise patience, have I mentioned that phrase lately? Your soldiers gain experience.
I will
and
not
become
exercise
more effective
patience,
as
thank
the game
you.
wears on. While your rookie soldiers are out of the field serving as alien bait, your scientists and engineers are back home trying to hurry along human technology. A successful mission
You live in the
helps this
hometown
process
of
along,
XCOM?
since your
That's
research
cool.
teams can improve their work by examining alien artifacts.
I
After
live in the
research
hometown
process
of
ends, the engineers take over and manufacture
Donkey
the
Kong
new
Tropical
invention.
Freeze.
This means that managing your budget is one of the keys to
and
doing
Arrow
well.
the Acrobat.
As the alien presence grows, you come face to face with political reality. You can't completely trust the governments that are providing XCOM's funding, since they may be in cahoots with the aliens. Also, even at the dawn of the 21st century, politicians are still front runners. If one of your missions failed, there's a virtual stampede of governments all announcing cutbacks in their financial aid to your brave, albeit clumsy, group of UFO fighters. It's been a while since I mentioned the P word, so I'll say it again. You had better be patient if you start this game. I spent parts of 3
I was
days
like,
playing
what
this
could the
beast on
P word
beginner's
possibly
level and
be?
got nowhere near the point of being successful, much less finding out what it takes to beat the aliens. What I'm trying to say here is that UFO Enemy Unknown is an easy game to learn, but an extremely difficult one to master. Each time you play, you advance a little further
Minute to
before
learn,
the
a
aliens
lifetime to
completely
master, just like
destroy
a fellow.
yet another mission, sending you back to your home base, cursing the existence of the universe. This is a test that you should be prepared to fail on a consistent basis. However, if you ever reach the point where you actually prevail against the evil invaders, no doubt your joy will be boundless.
At least Irish Cream isn't Irish.
Take to the skies for glory and cash in Apogee's new
things you
shoot 'em up
learn.
Raptor. Check out the demo in this episode of IE. For a little taste of life in hell, bring a big gun and visit ID's Doom. Check out the demo in this episode of IE.
Okay.
And now, back to interactive entertainment.
It's
All right, what is the second
If
opinion?
tactics and strategy are your thing, this is definitely the game for you. I was so engrossed by XCOM, my sleep was plagued with overhead tactical maps. but avoid beginner level. You might think to start low and progress as you become more skilled. Wrong. Curiously, I did better at higher difficulty levels. Maybe it was just preparing me to deal with the emotional burden of my later defeats.
These are just going to stay as highlights on the page because I don't want to set up a separate channel on YouTube for these. Maybe sometime far in the future I'll do it, but for now I'm just keeping them on Twitch.
In the world of UFO,
No. We want to know pros.
this game is extremely challenging. It's very easy to manage all of the elements, which makes the difficulty of actually defeating the aliens extremely frustrating. Since playing more means you learn more important information, this is the type of game that will have you blinking at the clock on the wall, wondering how the hell it got to be 3 o'clock in the morning.
And the cons.
If you're an impatient person who wants to know exactly how to beat a game, give this one a miss. You're given a basic foundation of information to start. Then the rest is up to you. As a matter of fact, this game is so vague, I don't have any idea what it takes to win. I never got near the point while playing, and it's not mentioned in the player's handbook.
How do you win? So let's try Breach Series, Syndicate, and of course, Rules of Engagement. All right, how many reviews we got left? I think we only have like 1 or 2. Yep, last one is Young Merlin. Let's go.
Young Merlin is Westwood Studios' latest answer to
Westwood.
the Zelda series. A fair maiden has been abducted, and it's up to you to rescue her. The controls are simple, and the game starts off with a little tutorial to get you rolling.
I really like the way they did the tutorial. The use of symbols makes this a good game even for pre-literate kids. The only thing I didn't like was the way they used mumbly noises in lieu of real speech, but hey, it's a SNES game. I just hope Westwood does a Sega CD version that uses digitized speech.
After learning the simple controls, you're off on your voyage battling little cartoon baddies on your way. The gameplay of Young Merlin is totally hokey, and the graphics are too simple, and the story? Boring.
I can't believe you didn't like this game. After playing it for 2 hours, I was totally addicted, and the graphics are way better than any comparable game you can name. Looked at Legend of Zelda lately?
I can see this
What?
game being pretty decent
No!
for kids 10 and under, but if you're even close to puberty, I'd skip Young Merlin.
Hey, I disagree, and I'm well into puberty. Sure, it's simple and somewhat derivative of the Zelda games, but it's easy to get into and fun. If you don't mind the somewhat childish approach, are willing to invest some time in a fun adventure, and you don't have the attention span of a gnat, you'll like Young Merlin.
Sorry, I'd rather maim and kill things.
Well, then gimme that controller and go play Doom, you psychopath.
We don't get any other info on Young Merlin, but we should also try Equinox and Legend of Zelda 3. Okay. All right, that's Young Merlin, and I think with that, we have actually finished. Yeah, we finished this up. I guess as long as we're here, we can see what's on the
All
patches.
patches and upgrades are supplied as
Okay.
is without warranty of any kind, either expressed or implied. The entire risk as to the result of any performance of any program is assumed by you.
Got some patches here for Railroad Tycoon. That actually looks right. They got Russian Six back. Yeah, okay. Nice of them to give us some patches. What are the demos?
This section will install game demos to your hard drive.
Doom is cool. That's a cool one. And Superhero League of Hoboken is the game I've been wanting to try, so I'm glad that's there. Okay, all right. I think that's it for interactive entertainment. Let's get out of here. And yeah, we got to catch them all. Pokemon. Do you like this? I found this on archive.org. I technically found this on a disc of Pokemon things. And yeah, I really like Diseased Raichu here and Ash here. And yeah, I'll probably keep this for the next few streams. Oh, it's so good. I love Windows themes. I do. I miss Windows themes like that. They still have themes, but they are nowhere near as good. Shut this down.
Gotta catch 'em all, Pokemon!
The ethereal noise as you do that. I love it. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick 10-minute break here while I set up for the next part of the stream, which will be a video presentation of America's Greatest Roller Coaster Thrills, a video that was originally in 3D when it was made, but no one who's digitized it And there have been a few digitizations of this. No one who has this tape has preserved the 3Ds, so it'll look normal. All right, I will see you all in about 10 minutes. It's me. I'm back. Hi, folks. That was more of Nature Quest Mountain Magic. Okay. And yeah, it's a really good cassette. There's actually a lot of cassettes on Archive. A lot of the CDs you can't download anymore. You can only stream them, and fair enough. But there's a lot of cassettes you can grab, however. So I do recommend checking out archive.org's cassette section. You will find something cool. Sorry, I'm pretty excited for the next part, folks. I finally get to force y'all to look at some roller coasters. I know it's been before where I think we've seen some roller coasters on this stream before, but now we're gonna take a look at America's Greatest Roller Coaster Thrills. Which, hold on, let me second here. That's even worse. I thought that would make it a bit bigger, but no. Okay. Well, it's just going to have to be a little small. This is America's Greatest Roller Coaster Thrills. It's technically America's Greatest Roller Coaster Thrills in 3D, but not a single person who digitized this that I could find were able to keep the 3D effects. So there's no 3D in this. Barely see that, but this was archived by Fall Inside a Hole at archive.org. Yeah, I guess you like falling in holes. You got this guy. All right, so let's see. This was made in 1994. This actually has two sequels: World's Greatest Roller Coaster Thrills in 3D and America's Greatest Roller Coaster Thrills in 3D too. But what's most interesting about this one is that it actually features an interview with Ron Toomer of Aero Designs, one of the most famous roller coaster designers of all time. So let's go. Let's hear from Ron Toomer. And yeah. Well, there's a lot of defunct coasters in this stream. So why don't I just put this counter up real quick? I swear that's the Watch Mojo noise, right? Oh, okay. There we go. That's better. I'm pretty sure these are all defunct, but I'm not counting them.
The roller coasters of yesterday were a far cry from today's high-tech screen machine.
Okay, BMO, I'm always thinking that whenever I hear about Ron Toomer. It's just... Shout out to anyone who has a roller coaster as their gender. A lot of people have creatures and stuff as their gender. I've seen roller coaster enthusiasts who are like, I'm trans and my gender is roller coaster. And I'm like, good.
I'm Eric Bortman.
And I'm Lisa Williams.
Hi, Lisa.
Are you ready for the
Eric.
video experience of your life?
We're going to take you on some of the wildest rides ever created by man.
Or by woman. And Eric, what's this wee stuff? You're not getting me on a monster like that.
You're not going to ride? Wait a minute. You'll come around. Just give it some time there, Lisa. The monster that she's referring to, of course, is Viper. And
Viper's still around. I've ridden Viper.
Home base amusement park, Six Flags Magic Mountain in Valencia, California. You know, today's roller coaster.
Sorry, wait for me to go into full flappy hands hyperfixation mode for this part.
Aerodynamically designed and very safe.
Well, that's what they tell me, yet these fiendish creations you'll be riding in just a few minutes push the body to the limits of human endurance.
What would you expect from a coaster named the Beast, or Mean Streak, or Big Bad Wolf?
Well, I can think of a few words. How about terrorizing and torturous?
How about tantalizing?
No, turbulent.
Thrilling. Yeah, thrilling, because modern coasters, Lisa, are designed for tightly orchestrated excitement.
Well, here they are in all their terrifying
Yeah,
glory.
Beast still exists as well.
America's greatest roller coaster thrills.
I have not ridden Beast, but I have ridden Viper.
Two of America's greatest coasters. Viper, one of the pioneering tubular steel frame coasters.
And Batman the Ride. Also
Batman the Ride's still there, and I've ridden that one too.
In Illinois, and Six Flags Great Adventure in New Jersey.
I've ridden the one in Magic Mountain.
At the original Six Flags Park, Six Flags over Texas.
Hey!
One of the fastest, highest, and wildest coasters in the country, the Texas Giant.
At Cedar Point Amusement Park in Ohio,
if your gender is a smiler, I respect
greatest
you.
Coasters. Magnum, a steel favorite with one of the steepest first hills.
Mean Streak, a coaster that lives up to its name.
Might be
And
Atomic.
Raptor,
I
a new
want to
breed of excitement in
say
a high-tech
that
steel coaster.
that reminds me
A
of a
nostalgic
ride
favorite
there,
and
but it also
still
reminds
one
me
of
of Don't
America's great
Donpa,
rides,
which
Cyclone
just
at
got shut down
Astroland,
in
Coney
Japan.
Island, New York.
I don't know if
Paramount's
Astroland's
Kings
still
Island
around.
theme park in Ohio, the
Beast is still around,
built
though.
by Kings Island as the biggest, baddest, longest wooden coaster in the world.
At another Paramount park, Paramount's Great America in Santa
Paramount
Clara,
parks are all
California, Top
all
Gun,
owned by
named after the
Cedar
movie about
Fair,
Navy jets
Cedar
having
Point,
G-forces
not
to
Cedar
match.
Fair, not Cedar
At
Point, but
Busch
Cedar
Gardens
Fair.
Jungle Land
And
theme
Cedar Fair
park
is
in
now
Florida,
Six Flags.
Pumbaa,
That
the
just
largest
happened
and
about
fastest steel
7 days
coaster in
ago.
the southeastern U.S.
At another Busch Gardens in
Yeah,
Williamsburg,
Donpa
Virginia,
got
we
closed
find two more of
because
America's
someone got
greatest
injured
coasters,
on it, and
the
yeah,
Rockin'
it's
Fire
gone.
And the Big Bad Wolf.
Big
And
Bad Wolf is
finally, in
gone.
Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, at
And
Kennywood
Steel
Park,
Phantom
Steel
is
Phantom,
different now.
with a
They actually
225-foot drop and speeds
redid
up
a
to
big
80
portion
miles
of
per
it
hour.
to turn into
And another
a
wooden favorite,
different kind of ride.
Thunderbolt.
One of the leading companies in the design of today's high-tech coasters is Aerodynamics near Salt Lake City.
Oh,
The
rip,
man behind
rip
the company,
Arrow.
Ron Toomer,
Their
designed
assets are owned by
5 of the
S&S
coasters
Sensei
included in our
now.
program.
When you design a coaster, you know,
There's Ron.
I've had so many people come to me and say, you know, it's not really hard to design a coaster. All you have to do is figure out what the losses are, and if you tell me those, I'll be able to design one. Well, that's what it's all about, knowing what the losses are. You know, when I start trying to do something, it's pretty hard to visualize a thing on a piece of paper. So you know, you start doing something in 3D, and you know, you could bend this thing around and turn it into, you know, our normal loop looks sort of like that.
That's a loop, hey!
You know, I can picture something coming down here and dropping down quickly and around.
It's so interesting that before the days of
I draw
computer
the things to
drafting,
start
he would
with,
just
do
use
the original
this, you know?
designs and whatnot. Turn that over to the engineering department guys, and they turn it into real geometry and mathematics. And when we start on a new ride, we like to, you know, a new totally different experience, we like to build a prototype of the ride, either a full-scale ride or a full-scale part of a ride.
What is that?
It's kind of a scary thing to ride on because we only
Look at
built
that
part of the
transition.
ride. There's no
Ouchie.
lift or anything like that. And we get a
Ouchie.
big crane out there when it's time and lift this whole track piece up and sit it up on top and then let the thing go, and it does its gyrations around its own center line, comes back and there's nothing there but the end of the track and a bunch of brakes. So it's kind of scary to see this end of the pipes approaching at great speed, and all of a sudden the brakes come on and you stop before going over the edge. And I think that's been a pretty exciting ride by itself.
All right, fasten your seatbelts, strap
The
on your
ride
shoulder
where you
harness,
almost
'cause
die.
we
Pretty
are
exciting.
going for a ride.
I am staying right here on terra firma.
Oh, come on, Lisa, it's gonna be fun. Oh, hey, thought of a new T word, titillating.
Tormenting.
Tolerable?
Topsy-turvy.
It's gonna be fun, trust me. Six Flags Magic Mountain, just north of Los Angeles, is
Yeah.
a favorite playground for Southern Californians and the many visitors who come
Magic
to enjoy
Mountain
the
used to be
year-round
more of a
sun.
themed
Six
park,
Flags
and then it got
pioneered
bought by
features
Six
that set
Flags, and
many
they kind of
standards in the theme
removed the
park
theming.
industry, like one price
What I
ticket
remember most about Six
and
Flags
live-action
Magic Mountain
shows.
is it is on a
They've got
mountain,
rides that get you wet,
and it is a pain in the
rides that get
ass
your heart
going up it
pounding,
in a wheelchair.
and rides
Oh
that
my
relocate
god,
your stomach.
that ride doesn't exist
Magic
anymore.
Mountain boasts 8
That ride
coasters,
doesn't-
including
that
2
ride's
of
gone.
America's greatest.
That ride's there.
Batman the Ride.
That ride's there.
And this one, Viper. All right, Lisa. You all set? You ready to go?
No, I'm not going. I'm going to stay right here, but you go ahead and have fun. I'll cheer you on from right here.
Fine. I'll make you a glass of warm milk. Wimp. Hope you're happy.
And yeah, and now it's time for a roller coaster POV.
Well, Viper was designed by Ron Toomer of Aerodynamics.
One of the exciting
not yet.
parts of that, I think, is where you come off the top of the lift and you go down this curving, steep drop. It's a high-speed ride all the way, that thing is, and quite intense. It's still probably the It's the premier coaster on the West Coast.
Viper is an aero looper, and it is. I was scared when I rode it. It was a very scary lift hill because the lift hill is on top of the mountain, so you're up super high, and it was scary. It was so scary. I actually was just like, my brain was just like, I don't want to be here. I think I actually grayed out on that ride because I remember going up the hill. And then I remember the end of the ride getting off, but I don't remember any part in the middle. Because my issue with it is that it's way too high in the air. It's already a tall coaster, and then it's on top of the mountain. No, thank you. Oof, too high. Don't like it. See, this is going to be fun when I eventually go to Six Flags Fiesta, Texas, and I'm like, no, the ride can't be that tall, sorry.
Okay, so far, so good.
Oh, I forgot that it had a mid-hill thing. Also, yeah, I spend all of the coaster with my eyes closed. I was really scared of Viper. Not of the Batman ride, though. Batman ride didn't scare me nearly as much. That's because it's a B&M, so, you know, I subconsciously knew that it was a better ride. IMHO Viper is too long. Viper should be shorter. God, it's still going? Bro! All right, here we go, our personal ride. Yeah, this part in the original video would be in 3D, but yeah. Viper from Front Car Center. So this was before the days of YouTube, so if you wanted to see Rollercoaster point of view videos, you would have had to buy VHS tapes. And luckily, there were actually a couple of VHS tapes about roller coasters, like not even just the Gold Hill ones. I'm pretty sure that Kodak did a few as well. There was like a little cottage industry of filming this kind of stuff for VHS. You're applauding? I love people who applaud on rides, by the way. That is so good. But yeah, this ride's not defunct. This ride still exists, so no adding to the coaster count. You can still ride Viper anytime you want. But Viper, let me turn down a little bit. It's just going to be screaming. There we go. Yeah, so Viper, pretty spooky ride. I like this part at the end. They're just like, eh. There you go. Just a little bit for you at the end here. Just a little dipperino there. Again, cause see, I used to hear there are some rides where people do applaud. One of them is it's called Soarin' now, but Soarin' over California Adventure. Every time I rode it, people would applaud at the end.
I see you survived.
Survived? I've been rejuvenated, energized, revitalized. Hey, Lisa, you do not know what you're missing on that thing.
I'm doing just fine. It would take an act of Congress to get me on one of those things, so forget it.
Then I'll write my congressman.
Applauding an eclipse is cool, though, because that's like...
What's next?
Good job, Moon! You did something cool!
First, we're off to Sandusky, Ohio.
This is Cedar Point in
Cedar
Sandusky,
Point.
the home of three of America's
Never been here, but I want to
coasters,
go.
Magnum, Mean Streak, and Raptor.
One of those
Cedar Point
coasters
Amusement
is
Park
gone.
began its long history of family fun in 1870.
The park is located on the Ohio shores of Lake Erie. Contained within its 364 acres, there's a total of 56 various rides. Water rides,
56 is
spinning
various rides. That Enterprise
rides,
isn't there
live
anymore
musical
at all,
shows.
I don't think. I don't know if those
Dolphins,
guys are there.
sea lions,
Dolphins, I'm
plus
pretty
the
sure
nearby
are
sandy
gone.
beach of Lake Erie.
I'm pretty
No
sure the
matter where you
Dolphins
go
are
at
gone.
Cedar Point, there's a roller coaster nearby. With 11 coasters, Cedar Point calls itself the coaster capital of the world. 3 of them are among America's greatest, including this one, Mean Streak.
Mean Streak was built in 1991 during an 8-month period.
Mean Streak
It took
no longer
300 miles
exists.
of
It is
lumber
now
to build
Steel
at a cost of
Vengeance.
$7.5
The
million.
roller coaster got RMC.
Let's take it for a
You
ride,
might
shall
say
we?
she transitioned from wood to steel. She is now a steel roller coaster and living her best life. We love you, Steel Vengeance. $7.5 million for this coaster, damn. This coaster looks janky. I heard this coaster sucked to ride before RMC changed it, which is cool. Like, I don't think because of my back problems I can ride an RMC roller coaster, but I like that they turned bad coasters into good ones. I respect that. As someone who's also transitioned from bad to good because of meds. I don't know if I would count Steel Phantom as kind of defunct. It's like, you know, because Phantom Revenge is a different coaster. They removed elements and stuff, so yeah. I guess it's a different coaster. I'll say it's different, yeah.
We're climbing the first hill on Mean Street. It's a favorite of Woody fans, and it packs a mean punch. Its first hill is 161 feet high. Top speed is 65 miles per hour. Riders are treated to nearly 3 minutes of relentless speed, deep drops, and high curves. Here we go!
Yeah, no, I wouldn't ride this. And yeah, wooden roller coasters are called Woodies by roller coaster enthusiasts. Roller coaster enthusiasts are called Thusies. And, yeah, very, very good. 1 second here, I gotta look at the cabin. Alright, cat's in. We have a bowl of water back here, which is why the cats like to come in. It's great. Like, if you ever want to get your cat to drink more water, the trick is to put a bowl of water in a random room in your house. Like, they love that. They will, like, literally, if I have the door shut because I'm, like, changing or whatever, cat will just bust on in. They will, literally get on their hind legs and bang on the door to come in and get water. They have another water bowl, and they drink out of that one, too. But they love their bonus water. It's great. It's honestly, it's been the weirdest trick to keep them hydrated. Oh, man, you got 4 water spots?
Magnum
Smart.
XL 200 at Cedar Point is a must.
All right, Magnum XL still exists.
Magnum
Can I
XL
ride this? I
200
might
has
ride
one of the
this.
steepest
I
first
like
hills of
Hyper
any
Coaster.
coaster in the world, and it's one of the fastest, 72 miles per hour. Magnum's first drop is a dizzying 195 feet at a 60-degree angle. And some of these
totally
features
do the
include
bonus
3
water
tunnels
trick.
and
Cats
an unusual
love
pretzel loop.
it.
Magnum is another one of Ron Toomer's creations.
It takes about a minute to get to the top, and yet you have plenty of time to think about what's going on, because you can see the lake out there, Lake Erie's out in front of you. And you come over the top of this thing, and, you know, that's pretty close to
I don't
straight
like
down.
that. Sorry. I like being a roller coaster fan who's afraid of heights and who also has a bad back, so I can't ride roller coasters. I'm like Marge Simpson with the potato. I'm like, I just think they're neat. Oh man, Carowinds. I want to go to Carowinds. I just think that the science of roller coasters is neat, and also I like drops because negative G's, because my back is compressed, the negative G's feel so good on my back. Because of that, I'm actually a really big fan of log flumes because you get some great negative G's on log flumes. Positive G's for me, suck. Positive G's feel like pain, but negative G's, thumbs up. I love. Okay, my cats. They don't drink from the sink, but man, they will absolutely try to knock over cups. Yeah, if you get motion sickness, you really can't do roller coasters. Also, man, imagine being the guy who just wants to go to the beach at Cedar Point. You're just like, move over, Thusies. I gotta have that ocean water. I gotta admit, that is a really beautiful view. That is genuinely a very nice view from the roller coaster. The last roller coaster I rode was in 2010? 2010, I think. I rode the Boardwalk Bullet before it got re-tracked at Kemah in Texas on the boardwalk. And Boardwalk Bullet, that was a very intense roller coaster. I felt like I was riding it and I was just like, oh, I hate this. That was literally all I thought the entire time. I was like, well, I hate this. I was like, I had a big old frown the entire time. I wasn't like scared. I was just like, this is so much intense G. This is so much lateral G's. I feel like someone's just shoving me. I was like, fail coaster. But the Boardwalk Bullet is popular among enthusiasts, so I don't know. God, I love this
Cedar Point's third contribution to America's greatest is one of the new breed of coasters, Raptor. At a cost of $12 million, this has been the largest ride
sure
project in
Raptor's
Cedar
still
Point's
around.
125-year history.
All right, B&M, baby. There's a B&M. There's a couple B&Ms, actually, at Fiesta, Texas. And the one I really want to ride is Dr. Diabolical, because it's got, like,
and it features a new element, never before
animatronics,
used on
which
an
is
inverted
very
coaster.
cool.
At the far end of the track is a Cobra roll, which flips the passengers over, spirals them upside down into a 180-degree roll, and then repeats the twisting movement in
That
reverse
is wild.
order. I'm just glad I'm not on board.
What's with this guitar? I'm go man, go, rock on. I always like suspended coasters like Ninja at Magic Mountain and the Batman at Magic Mountain. Now I'm trying. Okay, so this is themed to the bird raptor, I guess, but like, if you want an actual roller coaster themed to dinosaurs, there's Velocicoaster at Universal Studios, and that one, I think it's got an animatronic dinosaur, so there is a dino coaster out there for the dino freaks, the dino stands, the dino. I don't think Eric Clapton is working on this one. I don't think that the good folks at Gold Hill brought him on. The Seat of Honor, huh? Yeah, Utah actually doesn't got a lot of coasters, does it? You've got what does Utah have? Doesn't Utah have Lagoon? Or is Lagoon Colorado? Lagoon I know has coasters, but I forget what state Lagoon is in. Lagoon, it is Lagoon, okay. Lagoon has got some coasters at least. Y'all had Evermore, but that didn't have any rides. That was just LARPing. what I most like, I kind of want to go to Utah, but I'm afraid of Utah's power because I've seen the photos of the menus at those soda shops at Utah, and that is, I can't believe that people drink that. That is, I am, wow, this is a good ride. I am stunned.
So you're catching roller coaster riding fever yet, Lisa?
No, not yet.
She can't hold out forever. We'll get her on one of these coasters. Where to next, my dear?
To southern Ohio. It's about a 4-hour drive from Cedar Point. We find the home of our next roller coaster thrill, the Beast.
Beast is still around.
Kings Island is just north of Cincinnati. This is one of America's most popular family seasonal theme parks, entertaining more than 3 million visitors each year. Kings Island features
I could see a Dirty Coke Zero being good.
rides,
That's the thing. I'm not against flavoring soda.
Area,
I see some sodas that are
get
flavored
great
with like
food,
12 different
and just
flavorings,
as
and
many
I'm just like,
places
I
to buy
couldn't do that.
souvenirs. Oh, and yes, the Beast.
There's a book about the Beast written by R.L. Stein. If you want to read a book about an evil roller coaster.
Vortex. And the Racer, a double-track wooden coaster with one train running forward and one running backward. But the big attraction here is the Beast. Let's take it for a ride.
The Shoot the Shoots boats. Yeah, those are. I would not ride those. They scare the crap out of me.
World. Its track is an incredible 7,000.
Yeah, it's official roller coaster
fanfic. 35 acres of densely wooded countryside. The ride takes an unprecedented 3 minutes 40 seconds.
Okay,
from
clip
start
it.
to finish,
Clip it. It's
at
so
speeds
cool
up to
because not just in the
65 miles per hour.
UK, the traveling
There are
fairs
3
in the
tunnels,
US do
one
that too,
underground and 2
and they do it
above
all over the world. There's an international thing about copyright infringement at carnivals and fun fairs and stuff, and it's all over. It's so cool that all carnival people decided, no, we have the rights to use Donald Duck, and not only can you not stop us, we will not obey.
Hold on tight and don't stand up.
I would not stand up. Also, for real, don't stand up on a coaster. That's a good way to die. Like, sit, keep your ass seated. I know there's I've seen so many SpongeBobs at modern fairs, like in videos. I haven't been to a modern fair in a while, but I know they got SpongeBobs. Man, okay, if you want to bring a flat ride, I would say you get a carousel. Get yourself a simple carousel, because then you could ride that very easily in a fursuit. I would say you would need rides so you could ride in fursuits. And the carousels, maybe a wacky worm roller coaster. You wouldn't want something too strong, because you wouldn't want the heads to fly off. Maybe a Himalaya. I don't know. I'd ride a Himalaya in a fursuit. I really just want a log flume, but I don't trust portable. Ooh, one of those portable 4D rides, those 4D movie rides, that would be perfect. Oh yeah, bumper cars too. Ooh, smart. So you gotta have rides where they don't enclose you too much, because the fursuits are gonna make you big, and they're bulky, and yeah. Also, a fursuit would be really natural padding for bumper cars. The Beast looks pretty cool. This is a pretty popular coaster. Again, after I get my back checked out and everything, I will decide if I can ride a roller coaster or not. Oh man, they had an F-Zero AX cab. That's cool. Yeah, Laguna is interesting because they design their own coasters and they name them things like Cannibal and whatever, which is the fact that they designed their own coaster and they named it Cannibal in Utah is very, very Very intense. You don't think of cannibals when you think of Utah. Maybe you should.
Being owned by one of the major motion picture studios, many of the attractions are themed after motion pictures. Like
Not anymore. They removed the theming when they got bought by Cedar Point. There.
Paramount on Ice is a favorite attraction, and of course you'll find all the usual theme park stuff, but you'll also find some pretty wild roller coasters, like Grizzly, a wooden coaster that treats you to the bear of a ride, Vortex, a stand-up coaster that takes you through a storm of loops and twists, and one of America's greatest, Top Gun.
Top Gun's been renamed.
Coaster that bears its name is not a roller coaster.
Your cat
but a
meowdy?
jet
Oh,
coaster.
I love Clementine. Clementine is a
And
doofus.
finally, out onto the flight deck, ready for your flight as an F-14 pilot. The ride boasts 2,260-foot course.
So
and
I'm
speeds
checking,
up to 50 miles per hour. Following a 100-foot lift.
This ride is now called the Bat, actually. It was called Flight Deck, and then they changed its name back to the Bat.
Oh, you better hang on tight.
But yeah, this used to be a coaster themed to Top Gun. Pretty sure this is the same coaster. Love the coaster music. Also, I should have been linking to these. Here's the roller coaster database link for this. Also, if you didn't know, there's a roller coaster database. I agree it should be SWAT Cats themed. Also, I love suspended coasters. I love Aero suspended coasters the most. I've only ridden one, Ninja, but it was one of my favorite rides of all time. I think it was just a really great experience, and I'm really sad that there aren't a lot of them, actually. A lot of them shut down. Because the earliest one, there was a coaster like this, a suspended coaster, and it was called, it was called, no, wait, this isn't the, hold on. This isn't the, I gave the wrong flight deck. Hold on, I think. Yeah, this is the flight deck. I'm sorry, I gave you the wrong flight deck. I gave you the Aero flight deck and not the B&M one. There's the correct flight deck. Yeah, the suspended Aero rides are really, really cool. There's only a few of them left around the world, and one of the first ones was just like, there's a Defunctland video about it, and it kept just messing up the track because they did it wrong. Oh, man.
See, a big splash
Lock
on
flume.
a hot day, I can handle that. Texans love to brag about everything in Texas being bigger and better than anywhere else. Well, when it comes to roller coasters, they really do have something to brag about. The Texas Giant. The Texas Giant is an enormous
Texas
wooden
Giant's
coaster
defunct.
built in 1992.
Texas Giant's
it's located
defunct.
in the original Six Flags theme park.
Texas
Six Flags
Giant
over
is now the
Texas,
new
which
Texas
opened in
Giant.
1961.
The park has been constantly growing and improving over the years. To date, it features a wide variety of rides.
And I've never been to the original Six Flags, but I want to go.
Whitewater rafting adventure. Six Flags Railroad with a genuine antique steam engine. Stuntman shows.
And since Six
Always
Flags is
the
affiliated
stuntman
with Warner Brothers
shows.
Pictures, Bugs Bunny, Daffy
Hey, Bugs.
Duck,
Hey, Daffy.
Yosemite Sam, and other Looney Tune
Hey,
characters
Speedy.
are common sights all over the park.
Six Flags now operates 7 theme parks across the United States, and over 40 coasters call Six Flags parks their home. The track, if laid out in a straight line, would span over 22 miles.
That's too many
Almost
miles.
9 million board feet of lumber was needed to build Six Flags Woody.
The Texas Giant in Arlington, Texas, between Dallas and Fort Worth, is 14 stories tall, and it reaches a top speed
And
of
yeah, this was the
62
first ride to
miles
get
per hour.
RMC'd back in the day.
passengers are treated to more than
Six
2
Flags
minutes
was
of
like, shit,
thrill-packed
this
ride.
ride sucks,
And a bit of trivia you
and
may
we
not
don't want it anymore.
Texas Giant
And
superstructure contains 10
this
tons
company,
of
RMC,
nails.
came to them and they were like, hey,
let's see if we can
we
shake
can
a
take
few
this
loose.
coaster, and instead of retracking it, we could just turn it into a different coaster, and it'll be good. Yes, this was the VHS with the 3D glasses footage, but I could not find a version of this archived where they were able to keep that footage through the digitization process. Oh man, a Zero Sugar Sweet Tea actually sounds super good. Oh man. I don't know, I heard Texas Giant was a painful coaster, so probably better that you rode the new one if you rode like the new Texas Giant. Let's shake loose a few more nails. Don't say that. Yes, this came with the 3D glasses, and yeah. I actually want to know how they like everything I read about these tapes in particular said that they had no idea how to keep the 3D effect. There might be a way that I don't know of. Okay, but coasters have caught on fire before. I've had Colossus caught on fire when it was being changed to Twisted Colossus during the construction. And what was the other? There was some coaster in Europe where the lithium battery caught on fire in one of the one of the batteries, the lithium batteries that was powering the launch coaster actually caught on fire. I forget what coaster that was. Let me see if I can find it. That was Objectif Mars. Yeah, here's the Reddit post about it. But if you want to see a roller coaster car that actually caught on fire due to a lithium fire, yeah. See a bad idea. Have a good night.
Now that is one ride you won't soon forget. The Texas Giant. Woo-hoo.
With us, we have the president of the American Coaster Enthusiasts, Ray Ubrock.
Hey, Grandpa.
Here at Six Flags Magic Mountain during one of the club's excursions across the country, riding America's greatest coasters.
Hey, Ray, what makes a coaster great?
Well, I like the anticipation that I feel when I look at a roller coaster. I like what it does to my body. I like the idea of being out in the air and riding around, laughing and giggling.
And how about the scary part, the thrills? What's your fascination with roller coasters?
My fascination is just to look at the design and think about what the man who designed it is going to plan.
ACE, the roller coaster, American Coaster Enthusiast Association, still around, still doing work to preserve stuff, still doing events to raise funds for charities and stuff like that. So yeah, they're still out there. I forget how much it costs to join, because it does cost money to join the association. But yeah.
That's right, Eric. We never know what coaster designers have in store for us next.
Well, I say to the designers, if you're watching, keep them coming, because we love those coasters.
Yes, indeed.
Ray, thanks so much. I really appreciate it. Lisa, let's go for a ride.
We're not going on Batman, are we?
Maybe.
Wish me luck, Ray.
Here we go.
Okay, that's my kind of coaster now. Let's go for a ride. That'd be fun.
Lisa, for that coaster, you have to be below this line, and I don't qualify.
Eric, it doesn't matter. I love Wile E. Coyote. It'll be fun.
I know you do, but you know what? I've got a coaster that is just
I think they
perfect
should
for
do
big,
coaster
brave
POVs for the
grown-ups
baby
like us.
coasters too.
I'm not very brave.
Give me your hand. Come on. Batman the Ride was designed by Bolliger and Appleyard. Will be hidden 10 stories.
10 stories?
50 miles an hour, G-forces of 4.
I've read, I mentioned before, but I did ride the Batman at Six Flags Magic Mountain back when I was younger and like a kid, so I was able to ride that one. There is a clone of that coaster at Fiesta, Texas. That was originally in the New Orleans theme park before it got hit by Katrina. Man, I'm so sad Six Flags New Orleans got flooded, because I don't know. It was a cool park. It looked really cool. I liked the theming, you know. Sad I never got to go. Oh, you gotta watch. Yeah, the Bright Sun documentary is really good. I want to say it's on Tubi. I saw it somewhere. It's somewhere for free. Yeah, that guy loves saying "whoa." He's whoaing it up.
Well, Lisa, what do you think?
I think it was fun.
I liked it when I wrote it. Thank you. Now the Batman, it's so funny because Fiesta Texas has a clone of Batman the Ride, but it's not called Batman the Ride. Batman the Ride is the name of their 4D free spin SNS ride, which I would not ride because that ride is kind of a ball crusher. Like, it's kind of famous for how you have to ride it defensively, I have heard. I don't like rides where I have to be on the defensive. That's not fair. Batman Stick Smasher. Yeah, it's not the same design as the Green Lantern, but it's basically a lot of the same design as the Green Lantern.
Here on the west coast of Florida is one of America's finest
Hey,
views,
yeah,
in addition to being
chill
the home
out,
of one
guys.
of America's greatest roller coasters, Kumba.
Imagine being a
300-acre
giraffe and you
family
have to
park
hear a
filled with
roller
thrill
coaster
rides,
ride all day.
live
I would hate
entertainment,
that.
And over 3,400 exotic birds and animals. There are all types of entertainment to suit any taste.
I don't know if they still do ice shows. Ice shows are actually kind of getting rarer at theme parks, although I know that Knott's Berry Farm
Don't miss
does
the
an
daily
annual
afternoon race
Christmas
between the
ice
Heron
show.
and the monorail. Someone obviously enjoys it. Then there's the
Bull
main
gorilla.
attraction.
Kumba's still around.
The word
Actually, let me
Kumba
make
means
sure.
roar in the
I'm
African Congo
99% sure
And
Kumba's
this
still
coaster
around.
really rolls.
Designed by Bolliger and Mabillard of Switzerland and opened in 1993,
Yep, still around.
Kumba introduced three first-of-a-kind elements. The camelback, a maneuver which
I agree.
creates
I think that the
3 seconds of
zebra should be able to ride on the
while
rides.
spiraling 360 degrees. A diving loop, which plunges you into a loop from a height of 100 feet. And a 108-foot vertical loop, the world's largest.
During the 2-minute, 54-second ride, you'll also be taken through a cobra roll, an oblique loop, vertical spiral, and a double corkscrew at speeds of up to 60 miles per hour and pulling 3 3/4 Gs. Do you want to get off now or, uh-oh, too late now.
Yeah, I've heard that Kumba's a really good ride. I have not been to Busch Gardens, Tampa Bay. I've actually not been to a lot in California, and I've been to SeaWorld San Antonio in 2008 or so. But I haven't gone to any other theme parks here in Texas, which is why I'm planning on going to Fiesta Texas as soon as I can save up for that. That's what I'm using my stream money for. I'm using to pay my medical bills and also to save up for stuff. Oh, happy early birthday, Juan. We're riding not Batman. We're riding Kumba.
And so, as the sun sets slowly in the west, we bid a fond farewell to Kumba, Busch Gardens, Tampa, and all its beautiful critters, and bid a fond hello to another critter.
This
Bad
ride
Wolf.
is defunct, and it was
This is
replaced
the
with
infamous
Bolton.
Big Bad
And
Wolf,
this is a
a
ride
coaster
I
that
really,
takes its
really,
riders
really,
on a wolf
really
chase,
wish I could have
unlike
ridden.
anything
Oh
they've
man,
ever
it was so
experienced.
good.
And this
It's another
is the
suspended
Rocket,
coaster, so.
a coaster ride that's as hot as the name implies.
The setting for these two exciting rides is one of the country's most beautiful parks, Busch Gardens, Williamsburg, Virginia, where you can take a Rhine River cruise.
Drachenfire is gone.
Or hear an Italian opera in a lovely tiered Italian piazza while never leaving America's shores. It's a European theme park featuring authentically detailed 17th century European hamlets of England, France, Germany, Italy, and Canada.
One of Busch Gardens' unique attractions is Haunts of the Old Country, a haunted castle adventure in 3D with added
Haunts,
theater special
this does
effects,
not
including
exist anymore.
raindrops,
I forget what they
fog,
replaced this
cold
ride
air,
with,
flashes
but
of light. There are over 30 water attractions like Roman Rapids, plus 30
man,
other
I gotta
exhilarating
say
rides, including the
I
Loch
hate
Ness
River Rapids rides.
And our two
I
focus
think
coasters,
they're a waste of water.
And Big Bad Wolf,
I
both
think
designed
it's
by Ron
too
Toomer.
easy
The
for
Big
them
Bad
to
Wolf was
sink.
probably
It's not a fan.
the first of the really good suspended coasters, and it's still an outstanding one. There's one place where you go through an arch and the thing swings, and it really looks like it's going to swing right out and hit this. And I think that's another thing that gives the illusion of danger and speed.
Big Bad Wolf's journey starts at the medieval boarding station. A leisurely stroll through a lush forest setting belies the thrilling ride ahead.
Here we
The
freaking
Wolf is
go.
about to take us on a seemingly out-of-control race through a maze of buildings and obstacles. The ride takes about 3 minutes to travel the 2,800 feet of track at speeds of up to 48 miles per hour. And the chase is on.
Yeah, I just not a fan of them, but this suspended coaster is very cool. Also, the theming on this coaster is really nice. Like, you race through a Bavarian village, and the plot is that you're a wolf and you're just rampaging, which is such a good idea for a coaster. Why don't they bring that back? Sick. I've not ridden the Popeyes Rapids. I've ridden the rapids at Disney's California Adventure, the rapids at Knott's Berry Farm. I want to say I rode the rapids at Magic Mountain, but I could be misremembering. I just, every time I'm on it, it's just like time for my shoes and my socks to get wet. And then, it's just, I don't like getting my shoes and socks wet when I go to a theme park, because, like, then you're stuck the rest of the day with wet shoes and you get blisters. Coaster's so cool. I have been to, I've been to Adventureland and Disneyland. I know there's other adventure. Man, I'm sorry. I love the way this almost collides with those buildings. That's so cool. Oh yeah, that Adventureland. I've heard of that Adventureland in Long Island. Yeah. Haven't been, but I've heard of it. Yeah. That's actually a really smart idea to wear different shoes on those rides, because I never did. I always rode the Rapids rides. I don't know why. I was a fool. I was a fool, man.
And then you just dive straight down onto what they call the Rhine River.
All right, here we go. Yeah, I have definitely drank a lot of the theme park water in my day on accident. Not intentionally. I never reached in to drink it. I was always I wasn't that much of a fool.
Drachenfire is longer, higher, and faster.
All right,
than
Drachenfire is
Wolf,
also
and it
gone, so we can
features
add that to our
unique
list.
elements. A Batwing, which rolls passengers upside down twice in a boomerang type effect.
There's a really
And
good
camelback helmet to provide a floating
Defunctland video about
Zero
Drachenfire,
gravity.
actually. I
Well,
recommend
here we
it.
go.
There are people who buy candles that smell like the water at Pirates of the Caribbean. Six Flags over Texas, yeah, that's been the changed one so far, but man, Williamsburg also had 2 changed coasters. I get it though. I get it. I heard that Drachenfire in particular was I heard that Drachenfire ran particularly bad and it wasn't good. I can't take the heat. I can't. No. Let's look at Drachen in the mouth. Okay.
We came off the top of the lift there and put a kind of a half a corkscrew where you roll upside down 150 feet above the ground or so, and then instead of rolling back out, you just sort of continue on down and into this big sweeping left-hand diving curve. And that again is a very intense high-speed ride all the way.
The artificial water is it's filled with bromine instead of chlorine, so that's why it has that smell to it. It does clean the germs out of the water, so you're probably okay to drink it, but I wouldn't because I think that's just absolutely disgusting. But technically you should be safe. Because they have to do that with the water, because imagine like some kind of skin rash bacteria gets in the water and the water splashes on you. They're liable to be sued for a bunch of a bunch of money. They are being sued about a bunch of water, but yes.
This is Kennywood in West
Kennywood,
Pennsylvania,
hey,
a suburb of Pittsburgh.
Kennywood.
Kennywood is the home of a wooden favorite, Thunderbolt, and one of the nation's greatest steel coasters.
Pennsylvania has
Steel
so many
Phantom.
cool roller
Kennywood has
coasters.
been the center of family fun for generations. They
And we
constantly
got another
strive to
defunct
balance
coaster,
change
Steel
and progress
Phantom,
with
which
the
is now
preservation
Phantom's
of
Revenge.
tradition.
In 1987, Kennywood was designated a National Historic Landmark by the United States Park Service.
I did
Kennywood
do
was
a
founded as
multimedia
small
theme
trolley
park
park in
stream a
1898.
few
Only
streams
2
back,
buildings remain from that era.
but
The
it's been a
Carousel
while.
Pavilion and the
There's
restaurant
not that
building,
many
originally called
multimedia
Casino.
theme park games, actually.
Kennywood was the
You'd be
original
surprised.
coaster capital of the world. In its history, the park has had 12 coasters. One of the earliest was Speedo Plane,
Cool.
built near the turn of the century. Others included the Jackrabbit, which opened in 1921.
Dollywood is
Pippin,
sick.
a
Dollywood looks
1924
sick. I want to go to Dollywood really
and the
bad.
Racer,
There's
built
also
in 1927.
Buc-ee's near Dollywood
Improved
now,
over the
so I
years,
have
it
another
remains as
excuse
one
to
of
go.
Kennywood's 4 traditional wood coasters. In addition, a new innovation is the Sky Coaster, a ride that combines the thrill of skydiving and hang gliding. It's a real kick.
No, thank you. No, thank you. No. That's for someone else.
But the main attractions are still Thunderbolt and the Steel
Oh yeah,
Phantom.
Sesame Street is licensed
Thunderbolt
at
stands
Universal
on the site of
Japan.
the old Pippin.
Also Pokemon
The tunnel
too.
used by Pippin was retained, as were the first and last drops. The rest of the coaster was completely redesigned. Let's go for a ride.
All right, let me see. I don't know if Thunderbolt's still around. Let me see. There are 21 rides called Thunderbolt? Thunderbolt in Kennywood is operating still. All right, not defunct. Oh yeah, the Monster Hunter at Universal. Universal has interesting IPs, more interesting than the ones here. Yeah, they're getting One Piece. They get good licenses in Japan. Like in America, Sesame Street, there is a Sesame Street theme park, but it's owned by goodness. It's owned by the Busch Gardens SeaWorld Corp. guy does not seem to be enjoying himself. They're so excited. Listen to them. I like that they cut out, like, you don't need to see the entire lift hill. No, no thank you. I've never actually seen the Universal Studios Japan collab stuff from Monster Hunter. But it's cool that, oh my gosh, this guy's going crazy. But it's cool that they actually have that. I've been wanting to go to the Universal Studios Toothsome Chocolate Factory, but that's because I love chocolate so much. And the idea of a chocolate-themed restaurant that's also steampunk, you know, I'll give it a shot. That's me applauding like hell after
The
it.
Steel Phantom. As of this taping, it's the coaster with the longest drop, 225 feet, and the fastest speed of any coaster in the world. At the bottom of the second hill, the train reaches 80 miles per hour.
Millennium Force, yeah, that one's got a crazy
to build
lift hill.
another major coaster in 1991, they faced a basic problem: lack of space. And they solved it by using the same hillside property navigated by Thunderbolt.
On its way to the bottom of the steepest hill, Steel Phantom's track goes through Thunderbolt's superstructure. Oh, there's plenty of clearance, but it doesn't look like it. Notice there are no arms in the air?
The course is 3,000 feet long. Unlike most coasters whose first hill is the steepest, the Steel Phantom's second hill is the big one.
Okay, did I already put in
Following the
Steel
big
Phantom
drop,
into
you'll
my
go through
count?
4 inversions, a loop,
I forgot.
2 boomerangs, and a corkscrew
I don't
twist
think I did,
before
so yeah,
returning
we're
to
up
the
to 5
station.
defunct
How high
coasters.
can we go? How fast can we go? What are we going to do to the people? Is there a limit on how high they are? Well, if you'd asked me this 15 years ago, I'd have probably said, boy, we're getting close to the limit here. We'd gone to 125 feet at that time, which was the biggest one in the world. And I really thought, you know, we're not going to get all that much higher. Well, we are. We're way higher now. We're over 200 feet.
There we go. Well,
And
we've
I
got
think
5
there's no
defunct
limit now. I
coasters
think
on
the
this
only
bad
limit we're
boy.
going to see is what people will get on.
Here we go.
That guy's got a mellow yellow shirt on. Wow. That's so sick. Man, I haven't had mellow yellow in like forever. Oh, coaster! I've actually shown off coaster once. I showed that off on a Multimedia Monday a long time ago. Coaster's really cool. I think I want to say it's part of the software that they developed for the Epcot roller coaster sim, but no, they have a good roller coaster sim software that they use. Yeah. All right, let me take a look at the mellow yellow windbreaker. Wow! Okay. Oh, wow. Wow. Only $10? I couldn't pull this off, but I love it. Oh, it's got a tear in it, that's why. That's amazing.
City
Freestyle
has the
Machine's got
Statue of
mellow
Liberty,
yellow.
the World Trade Center, the Empire State Building, and Cyclone.
Coaster enthusiasts recognize this as one of the most famous addresses in the world, 1000 Surf Avenue. It's the address of Astroland
There are
Amusement
65
Park,
cycles.
home
Let me
of
see
one
if
of
this
the
one's
most
still
famous
around.
roller coasters, Cyclone.
It's a nostalgic wooden favorite built in 1927 and rebuilt and reinforced many times since then.
It's a nostalgic favorite, yes, but still one of America's great roller coaster rides.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's
Astroland
gone.
is the
yeah.
successor to such historic Coney Island amusement parks as Dreamland, Luna Park, and Steeplechase Park.
Today, Astroland is the only full-scale traditional amusement park in New York City.
Admission to Astroland's Midway as well as Coney
All right,
Island's Boardwalk
Astroland
is free.
is
It's
still
a pay-per-ride
operating
arrangement,
as
just
Luna
like the old
Park.
days.
Okay.
You can buy a one-price ticket
And
for all
the
major
Cyclone
rides.
In addition
still
to Cyclone,
exists.
there's the water flume.
So
if
the
you like
Cyclone's
getting
still
wet.
up. That's cool.
Astro Tower for a spectacular view and plenty of other rides and attractions.
In 1988, Cyclone became an official New York City landmark, and in 1991 it was added to the New York State and National List of Historic Places. Cyclone is now owned by the City of New York and leased by Astroland.
Back in 1927, the price for a ride on Cyclone was 25 cents, 35 cents on Sundays. Today, it's $3 and worth every penny.
Yeah, you might be
Cyclone runs on
mistaking it for
3,000
Astro
feet of
World,
track,
but
packed into a
Astroland
surprisingly
was changed to
compact
Luna
area.
Park,
There are
and
9 drops
it's
and
currently
6
owned
fan
by
turns.
the manufacturer
The big
Zamperla,
drop is
if I recall.
85 feet high at a
Astral,
60-degree
yeah, that
angle.
was the
Top speed
park
is
in
60 miles per hour.
in
and
Houston
the
that's
ride takes
gone,
1 minute,
sadly
50
enough.
seconds.
Oh, I wish I could have gone to Astro World.
Pay attention to the sign.
I just can't believe a ride made in 1927 is still here. But Drachenfire, which was made in 1992, is gone. Violet the Cow, I'm with you. I like gentler coasters. I love family coasters. Those are my absolute favorite. And not a lot of places install family coasters as much anymore. Fiesta Texas does. They're actually installed, it unfortunately is closed for good now, I think, but they installed a kiddie coaster called Kid Flash. And, what else? They're installing a monorail there, which I've been yapping about for as long as it's been announced, because I love monorails, and I'm so excited that there's going to be one in San Antonio. If I recall, the main Nickelodeon studios where they would film What Would You Do and all that stuff in Florida is now a venue for the Blue Man Group. Oh yeah, the Nick Hotel. Yeah. I don't scream. I laugh on roller coasters. I don't know why. I laugh hysterically. It's very strange. I laugh when I'm scared. It's very wild. I feel like the Joker sometimes like that, you know? I do occasionally swear yell too, which is not good, but yes.
That was so fun. We have to do it again.
I think once was enough.
No, Eric, let's do it again.
Okay, but let's say goodbye first.
Okay, goodbye. Come on.
Goodbye.
Come on, Eric. We gotta go again.
Well, that pretty much wraps up our show.
You've just seen America's greatest roller coaster through thrills in 3D.
And we want to thank the American coaster enthusiasts.
In particular, Ray Ubroff.
Thank you, Ray.
For their generous support in making this program possible.
Are we at the top yet?
I've created a monster.
Woo! This is fun. I love it.
Here we
This
go.
is your favorite part, Eric.
This is?
Yeah, relax. Just relax.
Tell me when it's over.
Relax. Just relax.
Y'all are gonna laugh, but guess what? This video made me motion sick. Oh, that's so funny. I've never had that happen with a POV. I guess I just can't watch a bunch in a row. Thank you, Dick and Ned. Cyclone shook the camera loose. Yeah, the ZDT wooden coaster I want to go on. It's one of the only wooden coasters that does like a reverse circuit or whatever they call it. I forget what they call it, where it goes backwards. Oh my God, look at the camera! The camera! Oh my God. I am enjoying. Thank you, guys. Put this on here. This is great. Just, there we go. Okay, it's fixed again somehow. Oh, nope. I want to see the end. Thank you, Carol, Lisa, Eileen, and Jody. Janice, Palmer, Bruce, Carol, Mary, Cindy, and Lise. A warm hug to Janice, Cindy, and Mary. Wow. I've never seen a video give a warm hug out before. I think people should give out more warm hugs, like instead of greets in cracked intros, they should say like warm hugs too. Horse. Warm hugs to horse. Thank you, Telemedia. And Gold Hill. All right, folks, and that's it for today's stream. Thank you all so very much for watching. We got to see the end of Interactive Entertainment issue 2, and we got to see a bunch of coasters that no longer exist anymore. Also, I missed it earlier. Thank you, Toothpick Birdie, for the follow. Appreciate that. And thank you all so very much for your support, for watching, and all that good stuff. I'm Alex, and I stream with my spouse, Danny, every Wednesday. We're streaming this Wednesday, so let me just do a shout out here. You can find us there at what time will I be streaming? 7 p.m. Central tomorrow is when you can see me. So yeah, check it out. And let me look for someone to raid here. Let's see who's streaming. The normal way to put it. How about Dream Harrier Live? Let's do that. They're doing a Cavern of Dreams. Let's go. All right, folks. Thank you all so very much for watching. Do appreciate it, and have a great day.